Here we go. This is our June release of the Consumer Price Index, expecting a headline number to be negative 0.1%. This is 4 times more negative, minus 0.4%. That would be the biggest negative drop that we've seen since 4/20, since basically COVID timing, which really affected, of course, all of the inflation data points. So that goes back, basically 6-year low. And if we look at the CPI month over month on the core, also under expectations, comes in at goose egg, 0. 0 would be the smallest amount. It would equal Jan of 21. To find a smaller change or a more negative change, or minus 0.1%, that's May of 2020. And if we look at the year-over-year numbers, year-over-year headline, 3.5, 0.3 less than expected, much less than the 4.2 in the rearview mirror. That would be the lightest since March of this year when it was 3.3. Year-over-year core, 2.6. 0.2 less than expectations, 0.3 less than the rearview mirror. 2.6 equals March. 2.5 brings you to February of this year. Quickly, if we look at the indices, 1913 this started CPI, and the indice comes in at 333.95. That actually goes back a month. It's not a new high. Usually every month we make a new high. So that's very good news. And if you look at the core index, started in 1957, very similar, 336.06, a little bit lighter than the historic high of last month. It's nice to break the chain. Usually these indices make new all-time highs every single month. What has the market done? You know what the market's doing. Interest rates moving lower. 4.25 was a 2-year. Now it's at 4.17. And if we look at a 10-year, as Joe pointed out, it was at 4.60, down 3 basis points. Now add another 7, make it minus 10 because it's at 4.53. We see that the pre-opening equities and the Dow futures have turned positive. So this really is a big deal. And of course, we know how much of the Fed's ultimate decision may be riding on this number. Joe, back to you.
Yeah, it's absolutely the best inflation report we've seen in about 6 years. If you abstract from energy, if you look at the core, it's all the way down year over year to 2.6%, which is just about where the Fed expects it to be. And it's not just energy prices going down. Like if you look at the micro stories, if you zoom in, then you see things like auto insurance costs are way down, in part because law enforcement has picked up. There aren't so many people having their cars stolen and so on because of bringing order to the streets. We see food prices doing a great job. Tomato prices down 10%. Across the board, drug prices, the biggest decline in drug prices ever, all the way back to World War II because of President Trump's policies to make America the most favored nation. And so, sure, energy prices have come down a lot, but everything else is going down too. And I think that's why, if you look at Bloomberg, they surveyed 67 economists, and 67 economists got it wrong, because they didn't understand that it wasn't just about energy. It's about all these other things that President Trump is doing to cut costs.
Talk about a reversal. Okay, so month over month, we came down 0.4%. So negative read on the headline month to month. We were looking for 0.1% to the downside. We got 0.4 to the downside. All right, year over year, listen to this, 3.5%. The street was looking for a gain of 3.8%. We got 3.5%, and last month's read before was 4.2. So look at that decline there. Okay, core month over month CPI flat, 0. The street was looking for a gain of 0.2%. And then also core year over year, all of this better than expected. 2.6% is the core number. We were looking for 2.8%. That is also a nice decline from last month.
The wholesale side producer price index for the month of June hitting the wire's headline number minus 0.3%. That is 0.3 lower than the unchanged expectations in the rearview mirror. Significant revisions along the line. This one from 1.1 to down to 0.6. And why is that significant? Because 1.1 was basically a 4-year high, so we're coming off of that, minus 0.3. That would be the biggest negative month-over-month change going all the way back to April of 2020. It's equal to where we were in April of last year at minus 0.3. Now, let's strip out the all-important food and energy, up 0.2, less than expectations, and rearview mirror, real big revision from 0.4 up to only up 1/10, and it's significant because, of course, food and energy is going to be a volatile area here, but that's still less than expectations. Now let's strip out food, energy, and trade. Number expected up 0.3, comes out up 1/10. No revisions that I see to that 0.8 in the rearview mirror. That was basically a 4-year high. When it comes to how this one compares on ex-food, energy, and trade, well, up 1/10 would be the least amount going back to April of last year when it was slightly negative. Now let's go year over year, shall we? On final demand headline, number comes in at 5.5. We're expecting a number over 6%. And last month, 6.5% gets downgraded to 6%. So there's another big revision from what was a 3.5-year high. And if we look at year over year, ex food, ex energy, that comes in at 4.7. We're expecting a number over 5. Don't see a revision to the 4.9 in the rearview mirror, which was a 3.5-year high. And finally, ex food, energy, and trade comes in at 5.1. That's actually one of the closest numbers to expectations. We're looking for 5.2. It equals last month at 5.1. So we are continuing to be a little bit high on that benchmark, and I like ex-food, energy, and trade. The 5.1 in the rearview mirror, that was basically the loftiest number in roughly 3.5 years. So we're sticking around in that area at this point. Empire Manufacturing, we're expecting a July read to come in a positive 9. It comes in more aggressive at 15.6. That would be the best read going back to, wow, April of 22. That's how weak, excuse me. We do have a positive read that was in May. That was 19.6. That was the highest since April of 2022. Now, after all that, folks, what do we see? We see that we're hovering right around 460 in a 10-year prior to the numbers. We're at 458. 2-year was at 420. Now it's at 417. The yield curve is steepened from the 24th of June's close at 24 basis points. Now it's at 41 basis points. The flattening was taking out the easing. The steepening, of course, is to some extent taking out some of the aggressive tightening. And the reason it's steepening is because 2-year yields are a little more aggressive on a give back than the 10s. And as Peter Bookfar has been telling us all at CNBC and the World, what a great research artist he is, pay attention to real rates. They're on the rise. I still see some pressure, of course, in the long term, and debt and deficits do matter. But at least for the moment, sometimes logic gives way to market-driven aspects of fundamentals and technicals intersecting. I still see some potential for some downside, but I can't stress enough. Any close above 467, especially on a weekly basis, or above 518 in a 30-year on a weekly basis, will significantly make the upside more aggressive. Joe and the gang, back to you.
That on the one hand, yesterday I held in abeyance my optimism on inflation until this number, and this number is a pretty darn optimistic number here. Final demand for goods falling 1.4%. Foods were down 0.6%. So that's a pretty interesting issue right there. Of course, energy leading the way, minus 6.4%. My friends who are truckers, we're thinking of you, and we see diesel down 18% in this number here. The core down 0.2.
And if you dig in to what was really one of the best inflation reports that I've seen in my entire career, then you see that there are all sorts of things that had moderating inflation that were unrelated to energy. So sure, the top line was driven by the big drop of the price of oil, but we saw drug prices going down. You know, we saw rents going down. We saw insurance going down. And the story, when I dug into it with my staff, is that because President Trump has made law and order a big focus of the big cities, it's much cheaper to buy insurance now because people aren't going to steal your car. Like, the thing after thing after thing is something where there's an anecdotal story for why inflation is under control. And so I think that really makes the report better, right? Like, so sure, we had a spot price that almost was 150 in oil, and it dropped out into the 60s. And so that's going to give you a top line number that's really great. But the stuff in the middle, the stuff in the details, it was really fantastic.
It was really fantastic. I started off that because there's so much news happening. and there's so much BS news that's happening, I wanted to take a few moments and try to direct you at some stuff that's very, very important to you that you're probably not paying attention to. And obviously, most of the people on X and on news aren't paying attention. Well, if they're paying attention, they're not telling you. You see, that kind of good stuff you just heard, they don't want people to know. They just want to scream from the rooftops, the gas is high, and the medicine's high, and the rent's too damn high, and everything else, but they never talk about the vitals. And then when things start turning, they definitely don't want to do that. They don't want you to know that at all. We had tremendous numbers the last 2 days, amazing numbers. What was very interesting what Kevin Hassett said that I don't know if you guys caught up on, very amazing. 67 experts from various media sources, various economic boards, 67 different experts who grade the economy. Every single one of them was wrong. 0 for 67. Nobody can understand what the hell is happening, which is why you need to pay attention to it. The fact that the so-called experts can't understand what's going on, the so-called experts can't help you, they don't want you to know, they put out false information, and then they're shocked when it's different. These so-called experts don't want you to hear this. They don't want you to know that Trump has done it again and continues to do it, just like he's told you all along. Just watch what happens, sit back, let him cook. And he said things are going to take off like a rocket ship. Everything is exceeding the expectations of the so-called experts. I had to write that down. 67 out of 67. They're completely stymied. They have no idea what the hell is going on. That's because they keep comparing the Trump economy to economies of the past, the manipulated economies, the economies that were designed to keep you in one spot. And now here we go with a guy like President Trump who's delivering results he said he was going to deliver, results they said were impossible. They all said he can't do it. Watch me, is what President Trump said. So if that 8-minute montage left you going, I don't know what the hell these people are talking about, that might be the problem. That might be the problem that these Democrat socialists have. If you don't know what's on the field, you can't see the plays that are being run. If you're watching a game and all you can see, especially in soccer, is a bunch of guys running around and the score might be 2-0 and that's it, and like, that's it, that's everything I need to see, but you missed what they were doing to get there. I got an email from somebody the other day, and it was actually yesterday. It was pretty interesting. And it wasn't so much an email as it was a Twitter post. Incidentally, they sent it to the wrong person, but that person definitely forwarded it to me. And I was grateful that they did so, because it was so nice. At the same time, they wanted me to like chill a little bit. So I want to read this to you. Dear Barry, I watch your show and I appreciate you. You talk a lot about embracing financial prosperity, and I am very thankful for what President Trump is doing. I pray for him, and I need some fatherly advice. I lost my parents, and I got a divorce, so I'm very alone with making financial decisions. I'm a bit shaken from all the trauma, but I trust God, and I trust Trump, and I appreciate you. Is there any way you can give me some advice, whether it's on a show or on an article, for people like me that are alone and trying to embrace financial prosperity? Love when people say things like this. She says, under Trump, I've been shaking it now, and I'm indecisive, and I don't know how to start making sound choices in the right direction. You just did. You just did. You just started making sound choices by reaching out so that people can direct you, even if they don't have the information. Here's what you may want to check out. The reason why I feature so much economic information is to help people learn, incentivize people to educate themselves. That stuff is complicated as hell for a reason. Oh, it's up 0.2%. The core group is down 1.6%, but it's better than expected. I don't know what you just said is good. Better than expected of what? All I know is how much does it cost me to buy gas? But nobody explains everything that these guys just said. She goes on, I'm overwhelmed by being a single mom, but I've done some things right. A lot right, actually. More growth needed. I'm looking at the precious metals. I have some, but thinking of more. I do own my own home, but I haven't gone forward with additional real estate. I have retirement accounts, but they're probably not organized correctly. I really don't know where to start changing things, but I know if you could give clear guidance, I'd appreciate more direction. I do have assets that work for me. Honestly, sometimes I feel like you tell us that we need to get on board and get smart, but sometimes it can come across as a little bit condescending to people that are scared and don't know how to take the best next step. Let me just say right now, I will apologize if anything I say when we're talking about prosperity and numbers, if it comes across as condescending. I don't mean anything like that. I mean completely to the contrary. I try to motivate people so you can go get information. The last thing I would want to do is give you bad information. I want to see you go educate yourself, watch these shows, understand what they're talking about with these percentages, and then do your own due diligence and become more, raise your economic IQ. I don't mean to be condescending. I'm saying there's so many people like this woman who she's doing all the right things. You've probably done all the right things all your life, and you still feel right now that whatever age you're at, you're not able to take advantage of the things President Trump is providing. She goes on, where was I here? All right. Honestly, sometimes I feel like condescending to people. Financial decisions are hard, and sometimes people don't know where to step next, even if they've got a good foundation. We don't know where that next move is, and we definitely don't know where the puck is going. I know you don't mean to come off condescending, but that's just why I'm asking for help. A little bit more baby steps would be so wonderful. And then she says Robin would be lucky to have a man like you, which I have to agree with. But in any event, the baby steps that I'd like to tell this woman, don't want to say her name, and tell anybody else is begin understanding what you're seeing. And instead of spending so much time on the salacious BS that you see most of the people chasing, try to find those arrows, those avenues that can help you specifically. And that's not even me saying, that's President Trump saying. That's Howard Lutnick saying, we're going to be so rich. I think the first and foremost thing people have to do is accept that that's okay. It is okay to say, I made some jack. It is okay to say, I'm doing some investing. It is okay to say, it worked. It's not bragging. They've made you feel that way. And I'm telling you right now, as we move forward, these Democrat socialists, they are most assuredly going to try and make you feel bad. Let me give you some facts straight from this latest report. The June CPI numbers, Consumer Price Index, came in and inflation dropped by a full 0.4%. That's what he was just saying. 0.4% in 1 month. That is the largest monthly drop we've seen in 6 years. The biggest decline in the all items index since April of 2020. Kevin Hassett, who you just heard talking, is President Trump's National Economic Council Director, and he put it plainly. He called it the best inflation report we have seen in 6 years. In fact, he said in his career. So if the inflation numbers are going down, and now down, falling quickly, that tells you things are becoming more affordable. And this is right where the Federal Reserve, wants it. But the part that really matters is that Bloomberg surveyed 67 of these idiots, and all 67 blew it. They whiffed completely. They asked them, where are the inflation numbers? Where were they going? And all 67 of them got it wrong. How can that be? Well, it's probably intentional. That's the part you have to sit back and realize there are so many people lying to you on a daily basis. From the time you get up in the morning and click the first button on any of the social media platforms, people are there to lie to you. I try not to say stuff I can't verify. I just gave you 10 minutes of verified numbers. Whether you understood them all or not, they were all verifiable. And yet, all 67 guys with all the kinds of degrees and everything else, the pedigree of big-time university, all 67 whiffed? That can't be by accident. They all expected inflation to stay high or to go even higher. But under President Trump, inflation is falling. How can that be? It's falling fast. As Kevin Hassett said, everything is going down. What did they say? 6 or 7% in gas, 18% in diesel? Why is that not front page news? They've been screaming just the opposite for a year. Now, all of a sudden, just as President Trump said, it's dropping. It's coming down quickly. Gas, diesel, which, brings food to the stores. It's all happening. President Trump is doing what he said, and there's no debating it. That's the other thing. They can't even debate it. Are costs too high for some people? For some people. But for some people, it's always going to be too high. The problem is these 67 economists, experts, all of them who were wrong, either are doing things on purpose to make people have doom and gloom, or what might be a bigger part of it is they've never been around business. They don't understand that the people pulling the levers in the Trump administration are people who understand how it works. It's very simple. You pull this lever, this happens. You pull this lever, this happens. They all know it. The problem is most of it, I won't say most, too many people in our population don't know it. These are the same experts who are wrong now who told you months ago that Trump's tariff world would cause runaway inflation. You see anybody? And I literally mean anybody. Do you see anybody talking about tariffs? Nope. It just fades away. Let's move on to something else. They said prices would explode. Oil got to $150 a barrel. Now it's like, I don't know, I didn't check today, but $68, $70. It cut in half. How'd that happen? They said the economy would suffer. They were wrong. They ignored what tariffs actually do. They ignored what business actually does. They protect American industries. They bring back manufacturing back home, and it's happening. You keep reading articles about, this guy's building an $8 billion thing or that and the other. But they don't know the impact. All of this stuff is designed to level the playing field for you, the American worker. And that is exactly what's happening. They also ignored what Trump is doing with energy and AI. Think about it. If you turn on the news right now, as I'm looking at the news, I got it on my monitor up there, and I'm looking at a story that I don't think most anybody cares about. They are actually on network news on a national broadcast talking about an estrogen patch shortage that hits with menopausal care. You're taking national news time to talk about an estrogen patch. Tells you right there. There are so many stories that get talked about that don't really affect you personally. Trump is unleashing American production. He's doing more drilling. There's more supply. Obviously, if there's more supply, then energy costs get lower. Everything we buy and use gets lower. It's basic common sense, but the experts miss it. All 67 of them. Remember what we lived through a short time ago and understand that's what they want us to go back to. They want us to go back to high levels of inflation that we hadn't seen in 40 years. Inflation that had reached 9%, which they never talk about. Groceries that went up 20, 30, 40% that they never do any contrast comparison to. Gas prices through the roof. Seniors on fixed incomes who had to watch their savings shrink month after month. That was the Democrat economy. And right now, what they're talking about going to is even worse. They're embracing this socialism stuff. So in addition to how bad things were under Biden and Harris, their answer is let's squeeze people even more. Let's make it so people can't even breathe. Let's tax the hell out of them. Let's raise the prices so they can't travel. And you're telling me we're going to lose the midterms to that? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Real people got hurt. Families got hurt. Retirees got hurt. Now Trump is in office, and in just a year or so, he's been turning it around. Complete deregulation, energy dominance, fair trade that puts America first. Those are not theories. Those are practicalities. These are actions with real world results. You pull this lever, you get this result. But you got to know to pull this lever. If you don't even know how to pull this lever because you're a bookworm and you've been in school for 50 years and you're writing for the New York Times and you actually never pulled this lever, what does this do? That's who's been leading your country. People who never pulled the lever. Now here's where it gets worse. Who's leading your eyeballs? There are people making lots of money, saying hellacious things, making shit up, pulling a lever that has no bearing on your life. None. And I try to make it so that stuff I show you and tell you also has a little bit redeeming value where you can say, you know what? I'd like to do some of this. Hence, that's why I was talking about the housing bill and looking for that, silver lining per se inside that housing bill. And even when I showed it to you, there were some people who kind of freaked out because they're not used to it. I'm just telling you, get in that mud pile, roll around in that soft, warm mud and go, this is awesome. And again, it has to do where the puck is going. It has to do with what President Trump is doing. How prices are starting to stabilize, the dollar is starting to go further, especially for those of us in this audience who are living on a fixed income. The experts can't explain it. Their models failed. Stop listening to them. Their predictions failed. 67 out of 67 can't be by accident. You can't be 0 for 67. Except for the fact you never understood what President Trump has said and what he knows, and the people he has surrounded himself with. He fights for people. He fights for the American people who actually want to build something. Workers, manufacturers, small business owners, retirees who earn their own retirement and want to see it grow. He doesn't listen to these ivory tower crowd. He listens to results, and the results are clear. Inflation is dropping, biggest drop in 6 years. The Trump economy is exceeding expectations. The media will try to ignore it. You can't let them. You can't let their spin catch you. Right now, President Trump just got in Pennsylvania, getting ready for his defense summit. Let me just go ahead and cut to this real quick.
Giving an address about U.S. defense and also pushing for Congress to pass a $1.5 trillion Department of War budget. You see Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, right behind him. Hegseth made an announcement earlier today that the Department of War is going to be offering screening for soldiers, and I assume this would be men only, of their testosterone levels. The men over the age of 30 who are in the military can have their testosterone levels screened so that they are at an optimal level for warfighting. I don't know if the president's going to talk about that, but Jillian, that's what the Secretary of War was talking about earlier today.
It sounds like, yes, our men and women in uniform, it sounds like can be screened and then treated if they have a deficiency. This a new policy, obviously.
I mean, we're just talking about hormone replacement therapy for women.
We did.
With Dr. Tarani, and now men may be next.
I mean, and it is something, in terms of popular culture, something that people, Americans, are intensely interested in lately. There has been a resurgence of interest in the role that depleted hormones play in men and women over the course of their lifetimes, especially as they get into the later half of their life, and how it can impact their bone health, their brain health, all these things.
And again, as we were talking about with Anna Kelly, in our last hour, the president wants to increase U.S. defense spending to 5% of GDP, which is now going to be the new NATO standard. Our annual GDP is almost $32 trillion. Let's see if he says something here.
Nice to be with you. Are you going out to the event? Is everything fine?
Are you giving Iran a deadline before you start bombing Britain?
I don't like giving deadlines, but they pretty much know. They know the story.
So are you meeting
They better behave.
Mr. President on vehicle stuff?
President not spending too much time outside because
That's it. I was at the end of my spiel about the economy, so I just want to dovetail into something he just talked about, which is they mentioned the testosterone treatment. You got to hear this from Pete Hegseth, and then I'll hit you up with SV. But again, just to close on the economic stuff, don't let them spin you. Don't let them change the subject. The economy is booming. And for those of us who understand how to take advantage of the economy, it's very important that you use your knowledge to your best advantage. Those of you who don't understand, the information for the most part is free. So get out there, learn about what's going on in the economy, and that way you can participate in the economy, and you don't have to feel ashamed about it. You don't have to feel ashamed about it like this woman who emailed me. You don't have to feel ashamed of, hey, listen, where do I get more information? It's freaking everywhere. We've had webinars with Ross Givens. We'll have another one with him in terms of how you can, trade and look at different things. I talk to you about Lear Capital all the time. We'll talk about that in a second. There's all kinds of places where you never have to spend a single dime, and you'll be able to find out how to make things better based upon what President Trump is doing. But nobody can lead you to that. You have to do that yourself. And part of that is trying to make sure you've got the IQ necessary to make those kind of changes. But in addition to the IQ, you got to have the body. And listen to what Pete Hegseth is just announced.
At the Department of War, we have the most elite warriors on the face of the earth. Every single day, you are pushed to your absolute physical and mental limits to master the profession of arms. We demand your all, and you give it. But while we invest heavily in our weapon systems, platforms, and gear, our most decisive tactical advantage will always be the individual warfighter. We have a sacred duty to maintain that advantage, which is why we must constantly look for new ways to optimize your performance, your resilience, and your long-term health. And to meet that commitment today, I'm authorizing a new screening program for testosterone deficiency for our service members, ensuring you have the right testosterone levels to operate at your absolute best. Because it's well-established science that as we age, testosterone levels often naturally drop. Under the supervision of our world-class medical professionals, warfighters age 30 and older are going to be tested annually as part of their periodic health assessment. It's a health assessment that happens every year. We're just adding this test. Those under 30 can voluntarily choose to get the test as well. If treatment is recommended, it's entirely your choice to receive testosterone replacement therapy. This initiative, it's not about artificial enhancement. It's about restoring and optimizing your natural capabilities, protecting your longevity, and ensuring you have the biological foundation required to sustain the fight. We owe our warriors the absolute best medical care in the world, and this program delivers on that obligation. Taking care of your long-term health means ensuring you remain strong, resilient, and capable, not just for your next deployment, but for the rest of your life, so you can thrive long after you take off the uniform. As we know, the modern battlefield is brutal and unrelenting. It requires and demands maximum psychological and mental readiness. And by addressing these health markers early, we're keeping you on the leading edge of lethality and giving you the same level of support that you give this nation, the absolute best. Godspeed, keep going, and God bless.
Oh, SB, I see liberal heads exploding. Just boom.
Come on, man.
Did he just like take toxic masculinity and like package it? Now it's policy. All the stuff you guys were afraid of. Now we're actually going to make it policy. We're going to have guys getting needles in their butt and manly men.
You saw my reply to your post, right? Should I say it?
You can say it.
All right. No more cross-dressing flamers. Check.
Oh,
More
boy.
toxic masculinity. Check. War requires lethality and strength, not limp-wristed sword swallowers.
It's so funny because for the last 4 years, whatever it was, we've been fighting because they wanted to do free operations for the Transformers and everything else.
Right.
And he's completely turned it around. He's like, nope, we're just going to make men more masculine as they age, stronger, more virile, fighting, lethal machines, which is everything the Democrats aren't. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I remember Pete's previous, whatever the hell it was, he had the mask and everything. And then who was the dude, the bald-headed guy wearing a red dress stealing luggage at the airports? I mean, what in the hell, man?
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh.
And did you hear today? Good old Potato Head just put out a book. What?
That's money
He
laundering.
can't even sign his name. How did he have time to write a book? They're squeezing every dollar out of him. That's elder abuse, isn't it? That's freaking elder abuse.
It's money laundering with that, because of course it'll be on the best. It'll be on the bestsellers list. It's one of the best movies ever. Oh my gosh! So what? Tell me what you got.
I sent you a few things.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Nick Shirley thing. Is that the first one?
Yes.
All right, Nick Shirley.
So that was a couple hours earlier. I don't know. Some people might have seen it already, but I thought it was very relevant. So yeah, Nick Shirley was in the big meeting with Ron Johnson. They just exposed to America that hundreds of millions of dollars flew out of Minneapolis, and much of it went to Somalia, as we knew.
Wow.
Johnson goes $700 million in cash flowing out of Minneapolis airport back to countries in Africa. Surely, it's been proven that a lot of the money in suitcases that left Minnesota went back into the hands of people inside Somalia. I'd like to have somebody go to Somalia and just see what they're driving and stuff over there. There's probably like Cadillacs and Audis and BMWs. Rings are all over their fingers, the $3,000 sunglasses.
I would bet you to say it doesn't. Here's why. Here's why. The money might have made its way back to Somalia, but the people who got their money got the hell out of Somalia.
True. That's right.
I can't stay here. What am I supposed to do? Get chased by lions and warlords? I'm going to go to, Riviera. I got like 20 million in the bank. Why am I going to live like this? It's hot. I want to.
Yeah, you're right. That one guy who they had to extradite back, he had gone to some Caribbean island. So the guy that had 5 planes. He had 5 planes.
You don't live in Somalia by choice.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So what's this say
anyway
here in New York City?
Yeah. And for instance, in New York City, where I just did an expose exposing this adult daycare fraud, nobody at those daycares actually knows who the owner is. A lot of them had just been hired within the past month. In Miami, you have the Cuban government running these DME companies that are fleecing and quite literally looting from Medicaid. A lot of foreign governments have infiltrated our Medicaid because it's so simple and so easy to defraud.
I firmly agree with that. And tomorrow we're going to talk about this speech tomorrow in a second. But I'm pretty sure that's whatever he discusses tomorrow is probably this. There's so much more under the iceberg at this under the water, because there's so much stuff happening, and the Democrats can't. They'd have to be Wonder Woman at this point and try to deflect everything, because there's too much. Too much. I mean, the fraud, the election stuff. I mean, just craziness.
Oh, that was another thing. So at this meeting with Shirley and Johnson, there was zero Democrats there. There was
they
no
all
Democrats
walked
at all.
out. Yeah.
No, they never showed up. There was zero. So that tells you everything you need to know. They're complicit. They don't care about fraud. Because they support it. How could they not? Yeah.
No, because
why.
Yeah, exactly. It's what's the term? Conspicuous by its absence, because they are all behind it. So what else you got here?
Jump up to the one from Clandestine, because that dovetails into what you just said about tomorrow. So Clandestine spoke because AOC was now calling for the TV networks not to air Trump's, because they're panicking, of course.
Yeah.
So he talks about the Streisand effect. If anybody knows what that is, he goes, personally, I hope.
All right,
major
stop. So you mentioned something some people may not know. Are you familiar with the Streisand effect?
Yes.
All right, take it.
Well, they say the Streisand effect. The more the panic, the more attention they draw to themselves, and the more they confirm that they are complicit. So, besides the overwhelming majority of Americans consuming their news via social media, all the important details will be clipped and spread on X instantaneously, regardless of what they choose to do. They can't contain it. So, it's gonna explode, because when people hear about it and they don't see it, they're gonna search for it. So
well, see, I had put up a post. Let me see. Do I have my post? And if not, I can find it. I had a post where I said there's three kinds of people. Yeah, it was this one. And it's like three types of people: patriots who know, what's going on. The second are people who aren't ready for it, and number three, they're people who will not believe anything that's even said. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to know nothing about it, and they don't care. And I think so many people in the Democrat side are in number three, and I'm hoping we can find enough decent people who have been lied to, who are open to learning more, and that's our only hope with it, because I know that they don't want it shown. They don't want anybody talking about it. They don't want it to tell the networks to not cover the American president making a statement from the Oval Office. There's something wrong with that. There's really, really something wrong with that. So.
Well, Barry, it's interesting. Today, I had, went for my 10-mile bike ride, and I was speaking to one of my neighbors I see usually every couple of days. And I said, hey, you ready for tomorrow night? He goes, what's tomorrow night at 9 p.m.? He goes, I don't know. There's a lot of people. They just don't watch any kind of news any which way. They don't even know what's going on.
Nope.
And he's a school teacher. So I was asking him, I said, do you deal with a lot of abuse? And he goes, yeah, we go through it all the time. He says, we can't do a darn thing because the principal doesn't back us up. He says the students constantly abuse them, yell at them, cuss at them. They just do whatever the hell they want. And this is not only in the high school, but it's in the elementary and middle school ranges as well. That's kind of disturbing.
Paul Sperry had posted this. Who's Paul write for? I forget who he writes for. Real Clear Investigations in the New York Post. And he says, White House is getting pushback from the big three TV networks. That would be CBS, ABC, and NBC. All three of them. They want nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with it at all. The Dems are claiming that Trump's just going to rehash baseless conspiracy theories. 2020 election rigged, stolen. Even the Trump promise is really big news, flanked by both CIA and FBI chiefs. He's going to be talking, and they don't want people even seeing it.
Yeah,
that tells you a lot. That tells you a tremendous amount of what the heck's going on. So crazy.
I'm looking forward. I'm getting a couple tubs of popcorn ready.
All right, so President Trump is due to come on at 3:15. We're going to cover that. I'm going to talk about tomorrow a little bit of a preview, just to give you an addition and more preview. The other day, I don't know when was it, SB, when we gave away the $100 gift certificates, which I hope everybody has had.
You had one lady, the queen, baby queen, I think I had written to you a few days ago.
Okay,
she was the only one left.
Only one?
I believe.
Okay, I'll check
but
on her.
Rhonda did write and said that she did receive hers. So
she did get hers. I also announced my grandson yesterday turned into a retail clerk, and every single hat that people were waiting for, every single hat has gone out. Awesome. Post office picked them up. They're all out, so we're ready to start that again. So tomorrow, what we're going to do during the broadcast is we're going to do trivia questions, but they're going to be kind of silent because there's no way I'm going to break into it while President Trump is talking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a graphic on the screen, and I'll break it so he's still talking. You can still see the question. And SV, if you're here, or whatever mods, whoever answers first, we're going to set it. You tell me. Okay, SV, you can monitor the comments. Ashley said, I gave away 3 $100 gift certificates or gift cards, Visa gift cards, over 3 days. I'm going to give 300 again tomorrow, but Ashley said instead of doing 3 at 100, give out 6 at 50. So what do you think? We should go with the 6 or just stay with the 3?
I think splitting up, allowing more winners is great because it improves the chances. So yeah, what do you think, chat?
Yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think. 6 at 50 or
put it in the chat.
3 at 100. All right, SB, thank you very
much.
I'll be back to you. Hey, Mick, just jump over there, pull your pants down, and get that shot, that you got, that testosterone shot before you head back to the Powerball, pickleball court.
Yeah, I'm on it, bro.
I cannot believe the Secretary of War put out a video saying, "Yeah, we're going to start sticking guys."
That was awesome, though. I love it. War is hell. You don't want somebody in a dress out there with a gun. It's like I envision Klinger. Remember Klinger? That was awesome.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I don't think I've ever heard a politician or anyone, agency or anything say, "Hey guys, we're gonna hit you up with some tea, high tea, okay, not the little tea."
Hey, before you go, it looks like chat does say they want the 6th opportunity, so it looks like that's a clear-cut winner.
All right, we'll go with 6 at 50. 6 at 50 tomorrow night at noon. All right, no, noon. Tomorrow night at 9. I think we're gonna go live at around 8:30 though. All right, I'll be back in a little bit. Hey, everybody. I told you things are getting a little bit better out there. So I want to tell you about something we're doing differently with Lear Capital. I know some of you find it really hard to understand all the technical information regarding the economy and the markets, and because that's not your fault. More than likely, no one took the time to educate you on the difference between a bond or a stock option, never mind gold and silver. People just didn't learn this stuff. But now you don't have to feel like that. My friends at Lear, who Robin and I personally do business with, will help you learn about gold and silver at your pace before you even jump in. They're making it easier for you to make an educated and informed decision about gold and silver. Now, all you have to do, as you can see on the screen, is text the code BARRY to 43343. You don't have to click anything. Just on your cell phone, text the code BARRY to 43343. From there, you'll be immediately put into a queue where somebody from Lear will call you back, and a sales rep will reach out to you directly. You'll also, which is probably more importantly for most people, you'll receive a text message back that has a link to a landing page where you can sign up to receive free investor kits and guides. They got all kinds of educational materials that you can look at yourself. So once you fill out the form, the investor kit will be emailed to you in a PDF immediately. So now learning about gold and silver is extremely convenient and easy. Just text the code BARRY to 43343. 43343. All right, be back in 90 seconds or so.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
So President Trump is due up in the next 12 minutes or so. Let's assume he'll be on time because he's already landed, as you saw. So before I would go into what's going on in tomorrow's speech, I have a shorter piece I want to show you, and then we'll jump into that afterwards. This shorter piece was an interview he did yesterday with Trey Yingst of Fox News, talking about what's going on in Iran.
Mr. President, thank you for speaking with Fox News.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We have seen extensive U.S. strikes against Iran for 3 consecutive nights now. This comes after the Iranians attacked vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. How would you describe what is happening at this moment? Has the war resumed?
Well, I guess you could define it any way you want, but certainly we're beating them up really badly. They have to be beat up. We're hitting them very, very hard. We're hitting every single thing that they have along the shore, along the waterfront. You know, if you look at the Strait of Hormuz, it's now, we're finding it hard to find where they have anything. We have to stop it. We have to keep it open. I was going to charge a fee, but instead they'd rather spend a lot of money in the United States, which frankly is better because I don't like the idea of a fee. It's got to remain free because otherwise others will do the same thing. But I think we've made tremendous progress.
So your objectives are to ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon, to keep the strait open, and to degrade the Iranian military. Can those objectives be completed in an air campaign alone, or does this require a ground component?
Well, I think they're completed now, honestly. If we left right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild what they have. The only way you can negotiate with these people is through strength, and the only strength is military strength. And that's what we've done. And I mean, literally 2 days ago, we had a deal, and then they broke it at the last moment. They broke it.
Will these strikes continue?
They'll continue until I say it's enough. I mean, they'll continue. They've been, the word the military likes to use is degrade. They've been degraded to a very low level. And they have fight. You know, it's like a great boxer. You think you have him beat, and then all of a sudden he comes back and he gives you a shot. They have some fight left, but they don't have much. And their weapon degrading has been incredible at a level nobody thought it was possible to do it this quickly.
You posted today on True Social comments that you made back in 1988 about Carg Island. And at the time you said, one bullet shot at one of our men or ships, and I'd do a number on Carg Island, I'd go in and take it.
Yeah.
Do you still intend to take Carg Island?
So I can't say that to you because if I did, it would be foolish.
Okay, so they're starting a little bit early, I think, here. Let's see what they got going on.
Bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the death's red glare of us bursting in air, they proved through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, so they just did obviously a Star Spangled Banner early. Sort of like a football game. They give you the Star Spangled Banner, and then the cheerleaders come out. As soon as he comes out with all the dignitaries, I obviously will cut directly to it. So I in my poll I put 3 at 100 or 6 at 50, and somebody goes, Barry, it was actually 4. You are correct. So. Do the math. Let me know if you want the smaller, more winners, or if you want the bigger winners. Back to Trey Inkst.
Right, but it'd be nice to make a little headlines, but it would be foolish. But I'll tell you about Carg Island. So we've already.
Are you ruling out a ground campaign in a limited capacity?
I don't want to say that either, but I would say no if I thought it was appropriate. I'd say sometimes you need a ground campaign, but we have other people that will do the ground campaign for us. But we already hit Carg Island, as you know, twice, even 3 times. I said, hit everything but the oil. Just leave that little area from 25 yards out. Leave that little area. Don't touch the oil, because I don't want that in terms of the world economy. It's a chunk of the world economy. So we haven't hit that. At some point we could, but I think it's unlikely. As far as taking it is concerned, if we degrade them far enough and deep enough back, I would do that.
Do you anticipate that the strikes we're seeing this week against Iran will expand? Are you considering hitting energy targets or other locations inside of Iran?
I'll save the energy targets for last, but ultimately we'll hit energy targets, yeah. But
I understand this was from last night that this aired, or actually, yeah, earlier in the afternoon, 6 o'clock yesterday. So obviously if you've seen the news today, that they have gone and begun bombing during the day, which I also think is a flex, because they're letting the world know Iran can't stop them. Most of the bombings would take place at night under cover of darkness. They decided to launch all kinds of bombing attacks today during the day, which is just an amazing flex.
We're going to hit them very hard tonight. We're going to hit them very hard tomorrow night. We're going to hit them very hard the night after. And then next week it gets really bad for them, because next week comes the power plants. Next week comes the bridges. We're going to knock out all their power plants. We're going to knock out all their bridges unless they get to the table and negotiate.
Do you believe the Iranians are serious about making a deal?
I think they have no choice.
Why haven't they yet?
I think if I didn't do the way I'm doing, they would never make a deal. They would have never made a deal with Obama. That deal was the worst deal. What they did sign was a worthless piece of paper. What they signed with Obama was a worthless piece of paper that was a road to a nuclear weapon. And what I have is a wall. There will be no nuclear weapon. I'll never sign. And when you listed the three things, by far the most important is they will not have a nuclear weapon.
Take me back to the moment before February 28th, when you made the decision to launch Operation Epic Fury. Was there a specific piece of intelligence that made you decide to launch this operation?
Well, it was specific in the sense that it just never stops, and they're going to go forward, and they wanted a nuclear weapon. We knew they wanted a nuclear weapon. If they have a nuclear weapon, Israel wouldn't be here. Look,
they said they didn't want a nuclear weapon.
Well, they say that. Everything they say is a lie. They lie. I've never seen anything like it. They also come out and they'll tell you we never discussed nuclear, and we're in a room for 5 hours. That's all we discussed. And they'll walk out and say, nuclear was not discussed. Everything was discussed ad nauseum. They were going to have a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks. Had we not done the B-2 bombers, had we not bombed their nuclear sites, their 3 nuclear sites, and there's another one we're looking at right now, as you know.
Pickaxe now.
We're looking at Pickaxe because somebody said there's a little activity. You know, we have cameras, Space Force, we have cameras that they can read the badge, they can read your name, probably Mohammed, they can read your name on a badge.
Probably Muhammad. Come on, man. Oh, gosh. He has said that a few times. You guys have heard President Trump say, we got these things up there, Space Force. We can read the badge on somebody's chest from outer space. I wanted to pause that for a second because as we go into tomorrow night, we have no idea, and I do mean most civilians and most people in the media, and maybe even some people in the military, have no idea the capacity for surveillance that they now have. So if he can read a badge on somebody's shirt from space, whether or not he can or not, but let's say he's telling the truth, and that he can read a badge on somebody's chest from space, which happens to be Elon's domain in Space Force, what else do you think that they could see? What else do you think that they can hear? What else do you think they can read? See, I personally feel President Trump is so bold in the statements that he makes is because you can't stop him. That's specifically why I put up the thumbnail for today. I know it's been a cry in the world of the number 17 letter for some time. No one can stop what's coming. I really feel at this point, it's beyond folklore. I really feel at this point that nobody can stop anything that he's doing. I really feel that way. I just wonder every time you hear him say, I can read the badge on someone's uniform, or as you saw today, they're flying bombing units during the day. If you think to yourself, man, this is one serious flex that's going on. Those of you who've been in the military, if you've talked to pilots and they're flying bombing missions during the day, and just the arrogance, the unmitigated arrogance of President Trump to say, next week, I'm going to blow this up. Next week, I'm going to blow that up. I'm just going to keep blowing stuff up. And there's nothing you can do to stop me. At this point, the Iranians must realize all of the chest thumping that they're doing and all the stuff that the media is doing. He's playing, as I said on a post, he's playing with his food. You just right now, you've seen it when a cat will slap a mice around or something. He's literally playing with food. There's nothing you can do to stop him other than probably trying to take him out, which is why they keep trying to take him out. So if he knows I can't be stopped on the battlefield, if the rest of the world knows, hey, this Western Hemisphere thing is his, there's nothing we can do. Cuba is crumbling. Some people will say it's our fault that we've had this embargo on it and we're just continuing to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. Venezuela learned the hard way. Okay, we'll do it. And life returns to normal. We're seeing these drug cartels being taken down. Who's stopping this? And I don't think enough people in the media talk about it. Who is going to stop him at this point? And that's why when I look at the midterms and I see what these rogue judges are doing, it's only a matter of time. There is some timetable put up someplace. And this timetable says we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And it's specifically leading up to November. So when he comes out yesterday or the day before and says both senators in Georgia are illegitimate, Ossoff and Warnock, you're illegitimate. And the media freaks out. He's got no evidence. I'm going to show you some stuff tomorrow, which most people won't believe. But more importantly, when you see like people like AOC and the television networks freaking out, not wanting to cover it, you can't stop him. I don't know how they think that they're. Do you realize if he wanted to, he could take over the airwaves? I don't know if they understand that. He could just declare a national. They can't stop him. That's why they're freaking out. We keep talking about it in terms of winning. Now we're looking at almost dynastical approach, where this man he has concentrated so much power that there is literally no one who can stop him. Nothing. Was watching Todd Blanche's confirmation hearings, and the reason I don't cover the confirmation hearings because they just go back and forth, and the Democrats stand up and call him the worst names in the world. The Republicans stand up, oh, he's so great, and it just goes back and forth with this charade. But there was one interchange that Todd Blanche had. I don't know which senator it was, but he said, listen, are you going to just be one of these yes men and do the bidding of the president? And it was almost as if the senator who asked him that didn't see the Supreme Court ruling of Slaughter just like 2 weeks ago. Yes, I work for the president. He is my boss, and he does run this agency. Get used to it. There's something happened earlier today, again, flexing muscle. You guys know that Mark Wayne Mullen is the new DHS secretary. The guy got shot yesterday. Some illegal got shot. He died. Done. He's over. And Mark Wayne Mullen orders everyone to stop checking cars. And President Trump said, not on my watch is that going to happen. The men and women of ICE are doing a great job. One, it is to be done. Crime is way down in many cases with numbers that haven't been seen in decades. The open border policy of sleazy Joe Biden has allowed 25 million people to pour into our country unchecked and unvetted. Many were criminals, and we have to get them out. In order to do this, we need to be strong, tough, and smart. And big letters, we cannot give up one of ICE's most important and effective crime-fighting tools, the traffic stop. Once we do, we are playing right into the criminals' hands. The radical left Democrats would like to see this done, but it won't happen on my watch. Sorry, Mark, you work for me. ICE, be judicious, fair, and smart, and go back to do your very important job. Keep those crime stat records coming. Remember, you are loved and respected in America. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. He's letting them know in no uncertain terms. I don't know if he called Mark Wayne Mullen first or not. No, we're not going to stop the traffic stops. Keep it going. But sir, this guy got shot yesterday and everybody's bitching at us. I don't care. You work for me. Go to work. Keep it going. More, please. More. His exact words, keep it going. Be judicious, fair, and smart. And go back and do your job. Keep those crime stat records coming. I ain't asking. I'm not asking for permission. Get your asses back on the street. Stop where you need to stop. And Mark, deal with it. I mean, that's a strong laying down of you know what. I don't even know why he put it in public like that. He could have just told Mark Wayne, but now we all saw it, and President Trump just told Mark Wayne Mullen, we ain't stopping. Don't you dare stop. That's one of the most important tools we have. Why can he do that? Because he works for him. What do you mean works for him? Go read the Slaughter decision. It literally just happened about 10 days ago, and already the media is forgetting about it. And they were talking to Todd Blanche about, are you just going to be a yes man? Do you think that you can, be independent? There is no such thing. There is no such thing as an independent Department of Justice. Slaughter confirmed the president runs it. Not sure if you knew that.
From space, and every area of pickaxe, but the other three are covered.
But specifically
if they make any move, we immediately go and do whatever we have to do. But they haven't. On the other, they were so decimated.
Some weapons experts say that the United States doesn't have the ability to strike deep enough with these bunker buster bombs at Pickaxe Mountain.
They can go deep. We have good stuff. Nobody knows about Pickaxe. By the way, nobody knows if they even are doing anything in Pickaxe. It's just something that comes up. We have cameras on it. There's very little activity there. But if there's even just a small amount, we'll hit it, and we'll hit it hard.
I want to ask you about the Telegon facility. It's outside of Tehran, and it was hit in U.S. strikes previously. These are satellite images from June and July.
Okay.
And on June 22nd, you can see activity at this site. Yeah. And then on July 7th, there is movement. There are trucks and cranes, and in that image, freshly poured concrete.
Right.
What do these images say to you?
What I'm hearing is that they put, and what they've watched it, that they poured concrete to close up the entrances so we couldn't get into it. So that's what they're saying. But we can hit that one very easily. It only takes a matter of minutes for us to do it and do major damage. And when they know it's coming, they disappear. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm seeing here.
And sir, on Monday, you announced that the United States is reimposing the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports.
Started now.
Shipping data trackers indicate that just 10 vessels passed through the Strait of Hormuz on Monday, less than 10% of what normally goes through this critical waterway. Mm-hmm. When you say the strait is open, what do you mean?
It's open if people want to go through it. We're not opening it for Iran. That's the only one it's closed for. It's closed for Iran, both in and out, but it's open now. A lot of things have happened, Trey, in the last few months. Pipelines are being built. We're coming up with great alternatives, including Texas, including Alaska.
You've called the new leadership in Iran a changed regime. Do you still believe that?
Well, I knew the first group for a little while, and they were evil, and they're no longer with us. I knew the second group also a little bit better, and they were evil, and they're no longer with us. And the third group, they have some bad ones in there, some very bad ones in there.
Just
and I think they're the ones that are stopping a deal.
So are you negotiating with the wrong people?
Well, now I don't want to negotiate now. I said, let's not negotiate.
Hold on. I don't want to negotiate. See, if you've reached the point where the person you're sitting across from the table is willing to walk away or take you out, I don't want to negotiate. Now you have to earn the right to negotiate all over again. If you're Iran, you need to give him something that says, I'll sit down with you. Because right now he's telegraphing and saying, I don't want to talk to you. You people are imbeciles. You're still walking around doing crazy stuff. I don't want to talk to you. How much of what we hear him say in public versus what's actually going on in private, how much of it is a game, a different kind of military psyop? But the problem is, do you want to call his bluff? Because that's your only alternative. Oh, he doesn't mean it. Boom. Oh, I guess he did. And that's where Iran is right now. That's where the Democrats tomorrow, because I bet you a lot of you guys thought like I did, like you've got the goods on this, you've got the goods on that. Why did you announce 2 days ago that you're going to give an announcement on Thursday at 9 p.m.? Why not just walk out and say, I want to talk to America, my fellow Americans, I'd like to address you tonight. Give nobody any opportunity to maneuver. Have you thought maybe why he did that? Why did he just hey, Thursday we're going to talk to you? to give everybody time, he must have known that they were going to circle the wagons and try to fight him. Why is it he said on Thursday? I have an idea. I'll get to that, but I just wonder if anybody besides me thought that. Why give anybody any notice? So right now, the biggest thing is we know we're watching a giant psyop. It is massive in terms of what's being said versus what's being done and how they are going through it.
Days ago, we had a deal.
When was the last time you spoke with an Iranian official?
Well, not me, but let's say my representatives. I have spoken to them, but my representatives over the course of, well, actually, an hour ago.
And what message was delivered?
They want to make a deal, but every time they make a deal, they break it. They don't want to die. People don't want to die. Yeah, about an hour ago.
And what message was delivered?
You better make a deal. You're not going to have anybody left. We're being very careful with the civilian population, as you know, but I said, you better make a deal. You're not going to have anything left.
And you think they will?
They should. I don't know if they will or not.
Sir, thank you for speaking with Fox News.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
News.
Hey, man.
Fox News.
That's me. Let me ask you a question. So, if you were playing at a table with somebody like that, how are you going to tell what he's holding?
How do I tell? I usually just go all in, man. Force their hands.
Because at this point,
so you're asking, I thought the reason why he's giving them time is to see which cockroaches scurry first.
Yeah. And that goes back to the statement about being able to read the badge of the person from space. So if I'm sitting around a table with the people from Elon's office and Space Force and everything, all right, we're going to announce this today, and we're going to say this is going to happen on Thursday night. Everybody, you got all the satellites in place? You got all the, because between phones and electronic activity, and I just couldn't imagine all the things that are being monitored right now to see how like I said, playing with his food. What are you going to do? Because at that point, the smart ones, the real smart criminals, they know they've already been caught. You're not going to be able to transfer any money out of the country. You're not going to. What do you do? What do you do at that point?
Burner phones are not going to work either. I mean, they're already caught.
You're already caught.
I mean, where I saw it today, Jack Smith was intercepting text messages. I mean, what? And I'm throwing my phone away. Bye.
That same guy, Paul Sperry from Real Clear Investigations, he's been running ongoing stuff. I mean, here's something.
I think that's where I saw it.
Yeah. This is breaking. Docs will also, this is about tomorrow night. Documents will reveal Biden administration cooked a 2021 intelligence community assessment to make it appear pro-Trump Russia had still been election interference threat in 2020, when in fact the real threat from a pro-Biden ICA used as red herring to throw the public off. I can't even imagine what's going to come out. I mean, it's just. Man. And what doesn't come out? No, there's no. I mean, here's what I wanted to show you. This is the one. Newly declassified records reveal special counsel Jack Smith team unlawfully, in violation of the Constitution, accessed text messages to and from the following current and former senators and House members, and it's basically just a laundry list of senators and House people that they were monitoring. So the question I had, and it's weird, is some of these people are Democrats. I see Cory Booker there, but you can go through it down the bottom. Adam Smith from Washington. Is if Jack Smith was accessing this information, what do you think they're doing now?
Yeah, and it wasn't just these guys. I saw Karen Bass's name on some list too.
Yeah, Karen Bass.
Some really odd additions to that list. Yeah.
And what were they hoping to find? Especially with the Democrats on this list. So let me see if they on the bottom here. Yeah, I see.
Russia.
Yeah, there's Karen Bass, number 35. 35 is Karen. But that was before she was mayor. That was when she was a representative.
Right.
But she was they were looking at her. What the hell were they looking at? What was Jack Smith trying to find with all these people?
I love if Elon would have some kind of like cross-referencing Grok thing to see what they all have together. I mean, he could probably find an answer. I should ask Grok, what do they all have in common from that list?
Oh, yeah,
See if it comes up
that's
with
really
something.
good. All right, so President Trump has not come out as yet. 319, they haven't done anything else. So I don't want to run my. Good. You got some?
Well, I was going to say I had a short thing. Eric Doherty at the bottom where JD Vance is talking to Joe Rogan about Gavin Newsom, where he says he's full of shite. So it's a short video, but I figure if you want some filler, you could do that.
I've got content. I'm just trying to bounce around because the minute I start something, he's going to walk out. That is, but this one's only 54 seconds. So let me go.
By the way, congratulations. The U.S. Senate just confirmed the Trump judicial nominee, Jeffrey Kuntz, to Southern District of Florida.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. All right. So let me play this. What's this JD Vance? Go ahead. Set it up. What are we about to look at here?
Okay. Bringing it up. So he was talking to Joe Rogan, and he's basically, Vance says Gavin Newsom is full of, you know what? He's like speaking to a group of black leaders and black businessmen. And they're asking him about his dyslexia and his struggle with education. And he basically says, yeah, I'm not very smart. A lot of you. Joe Rogan goes, I'm like you. I can't read. Then there's tons of interviews where he's talking about all the books he reads. He's so full of shite, admirably full of shite. I admire the effing tenacity he has in being full of crap. That was a great discussion.
Let's take a listen.
Asked too broad of a brush here, but it's like, Gavin Newsom did this speech a few months ago. The president, I think it's the funniest thing ever because he's like speaking to a group of black leaders and black businessmen, but it's like an audience that is 95% black. And they're asking him about his dyslexia and his struggle with education. And he basically says, yeah, I'm not very smart like a lot of you. And it's like,
I'm like you. I can't even read.
I can't even read.
Meanwhile, there's a ton of interviews where he's talking about all the books he reads. He's so full of shit.
Yeah, he's full of shit, but it's
admirably full of shit. I admire the fucking the sheer tenacity that he has in being full of shit. Because it's amazing.
It really is amazing. But it speaks to the incentives of there's kind of like
hey, Barry, just in. Newsom's new presidential campaign slogan, I'm full of shit.
Oh my gosh.
I really hope that he has to debate JD. That would be like, oh my gosh.
I got to get a t-shirt, the tenacity of bullshit. When does that come out? Oh my gosh, that was too funny. That is so funny. Oh,
I'd like to see his whole interview. I'm sure he had a fun time on there.
Yes, I was wondering when it comes out. I have to figure out when it comes out so I can download that. Oh man, he's so full of crap. It's funny because they're calling out your BS. Oh my god,
yeah,
that's absolutely crazy. What's this one you have here?
My goodness.
Oh, this is the one about the guy just got confirmed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. And
50, write down party lines too. Yes, 50 to 45. Democrats will do nothing. They will not cross the aisle whatsoever. They don't care. Absolutely.
Oh, here I got to show you this one. Let me send this to you real quick. So, did you know this about Fetterman? I just posted it from Eric Doherty. I mean, I know he's been sounding very Republican lately, but I didn't know that there were some polls done. They said a new poll just found that nearly 60% of Pennsylvania Democrats are demanding Fetterman leave the Democratic Party. A whopping 78% of PA Republicans approve of Fetterman, while only 19% of Democrats approve. So Fetterman faces two difficult choices: jump ship and register as a Republican, seek re-election as a Republican, but be a more moderate GOP vote, or stay on as a Democrat, face a tough and costly primary, and risk flipping the state red because of Democratic division and funding issues. I wonder what he's going to do. That's a coin flip in my eyes, because Sometimes he sounds like he's going right, and then other times he goes right back to good old lurch.
I think one of the problems is that the Democrats have gone so far to the left. They are so socialist at this point that even they can't be on their team. And I think it's getting scary at this point because like the thing, the chart that you quoted here, 60% of Pennsylvania Democrats, I don't know who they polled or anything, but that 60% is probably made up of a good 25 or 30%, probably the college kids, because Pennsylvania has a lot of college kids. In Philadelphia, I can't tell you how many colleges are in that area. And if that's who they're talking to, these kids are gone. I mean, absolutely bonkers gone. Let me, I have something I could dovetail off of this. So that this is another 55-second video as we're waiting for President Trump to come out. 55 seconds.
All right.
And listen to this warp. It keeps getting more insane. This is actually more insane than anything I've showed. So listen to this.
And you don't have to have a job just to pay the bills because you don't have a lot of bills, right? Bills are no longer a thing because there's not.
Bills are no longer a thing. You are not going to have bills. The new world we're going to, you won't have bills. Why is that? Why would you not have bills?
For-profit businesses that are constantly trying to exploit you and trying to, put you into debt. And then you might just have like a normal day, right? Like you could actually have the freedom to move around. And so part of what we're trying to do is dispel.
You have the freedom to move around because you ain't got no job. you don't have any place to go. Oh my gosh, it gets worse.
No, not another white liberal woman. No way.
Oh yeah, all three of them.
The idea that socialism is just about like bureaucracy, meetings, order, or anything like that. It actually is about freedom. It's about people being able to be themselves. It's about people being able to actually flourish under a system where they're not constantly being exploited and where they're not constantly worried about these basic things it takes to live. If you don't have to worry about the basic things it takes to live, then you can thrive, right? And then you can actually lead your life instead of...
You don't have to worry about bills, electricity. It's all going to be free. It's just you just
free stuff.
You just lay around the house. Just lay around the house and watch television. Everything's free. And I'm thinking this is what they're pitching these people. This is what they're telling them is like life is just going to be so great. You wake up in the morning, you don't have to go anywhere. Your food is a human right, as Bernie says. Your housing, human right. Electricity, human right. Okay, what if
let's use New York City as an example, right? They're burning, literally burning. I mean, he's been in power a year or something?
Yeah.
And it's already like it's gone to hell in a handbasket.
Now here's the problem. Hold on. Here's the problem with socialism that I have. Hold on a second. Hold on here.
That you couldn't negotiate with the IRGC. Does that mean that you might wipe them out like you did ISIS?
Yeah, it does. We will see what's happening. We received a call just as I was coming here. They want to meet. They always want to meet. But, this should have been done by other presidents for many years, for 47 years, but really a lot longer than that, and it wasn't. And I never understood why, but now I do. Because if you're not going to do it the way I'm doing it, you're never going to make a deal with them. They were very difficult. They're good negotiators. They were tapping everybody along for 47 years. Then Obama came in and he just offered them, a fortune of money. He paid them off. $1.7 billion in green cash and hundreds of billions of dollars. And that really set everyone else back because they started wanting to make nuclear weapons. And then we hit them just about a year ago, with the B-2 bombers, and that ended that. So we got a little bit lucky.
All right, so as of right now, the big announcement was at 3 p.m. Eastern, about 27 minutes ago, they started bombing Iran again, even harder. The arena, or whatever you want to call this thing, is starting to fill up. So there it is right there. So we will be cutting to it shortly. They just brought the lights up and everything else. All righty. SB, you said you were working on something?
I literally just sent you that story when you cut to it.
Oh.
So I was way ahead of you. I was like, you saw me pointing like story.
Yeah. So they're bombing them again. So back to these socialists. Can you imagine the part that they're not talking about is, you'll be able to eat, you'll get this for free. What if you want more? What if SB says, I want to go to the Bahamas. I want to go to Tahiti. They're going to say, no, you shouldn't. I mean, because the ability to work, to earn more money, to do things what you want to do, I haven't heard any of them address that yet. So you're just going to be this plasma just sitting around in your house, I'm sitting here, I'm petting a dog, but you don't have the ability to do anything? I don't get what these people are talking about. That's
not true, because we saw it, like Tamu Jeffries, he was in that skybox, grooving and moving. Like, that thing must have cost a couple bucks, I mean, he was having a good old time and he wasn't trying to hide it. But, it's funny. I didn't see any comments on some of the videos, like saying, he shouldn't be doing that. Like, so what? Do what I say, not what I actually do.
And it's obvious none of them have ever read the book Animal Farm. Just spend $5 or $6 and go read that book. Hey, listen, they're getting seated right now, the whole audience. So let me do my Rumble thing before they get in here. And I think we should time this perfectly. All right. Thanks, SV. This is a paid advertisement from Rumble. Rumble is one of the sponsors of my channel, and they've done a good job with basically helping to distribute the comments and content over onto Rumble. So I like dealing with them, love dealing with them. So this is about Rumble Wallet, and you have to understand, Rumble Wallet is all about having custody of your funds all the time. How much control do you really have over your money right now? Technology has changed everything, and now it's changing how money works. Crypto started as a niche, but now it's going mainstream. Faster payments, more control, fewer middlemen. This isn't hype, it's just where things are going. And getting started today is easier than you think. With Rumble Wallet, you can buy Bitcoin, you can hold dollar-backed stable coins, all in one place. It's a non-custodial crypto wallet, which means you, not a bank or a platform, control access to your funds. Setup is simple. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your debit card, credit card, or bank account and be up and running in minutes. And for a limited time, you can start your wallet with free $10 US stablecoin by downloading the Rumble Wallet and entering my exclusive promo code Barry10 when you sign up now. You can even use your Rumble Wallet to support your favorite Rumble creators. So do this now, scan the QR code, click the link in the description, or go to wallet.rumble.com/Barry and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, enter the promo code Barry10 to get your $10 in US stablecoin. This is a limited time offer, so act now. Take control of your money. Get started with Rumble Wallet today, and terms and conditions apply. See the description below, or visit rumble.com/promo official rules for details. All right, so they're getting ready to come out here, and here he comes. Wow, perfect timing. I couldn't have timed that more perfect. Let's go.
We've all heard it. It became hot. Lee became very wealthy. Lee Greenwood, he's fabulous, and I want to thank him. He's been with us from the beginning. A great guy, great talent. And Pennsylvania, you are really rocking. You got the big ones here. And David, Dina. Now I'm in a world where I'm shaking hands with all celebrity business people mostly, but they're biggest names in business, and they're all spending money in our country, but they're all spending money in Pennsylvania. So I just want to say thank you. But this is a hot place. We would say it's a hot commonwealth. Never call it a state, you're in deep trouble. I've seen people's political careers end over that. Just call it a commonwealth. A lot of people don't remember that. But I think it's great to see what's going on and to see the kind of genius that I'm surrounded by. all of the people that I met backstage, but it's pure genius. I want to thank Senator David McCormick for organizing this extraordinary event, and I came to another one with you about a year ago, and that was a monster, but it wasn't like this one. This is even beyond. That was on energy, and it was very impressive, but this is something crazy what's going on. Outstanding work on behalf of the incredible people of Pennsylvania. You know, he followed me along the campaign trail, and he had a tough race. It was a tough race. A lot of people wouldn't have had the courage to do it. It takes guts to run for office. People don't know that. Only the people that never get there know it. But the fact that you did what you did it once, and you did it really well, but things didn't work out, and you did it a second time against actually a much tougher opponent, and it wasn't even close. So I think he's a great guy, great, spectacular guy with a great helper, right? But we're here today to celebrate a colossal victory for this Commonwealth and for the entire nation. This afternoon, we're announcing nearly $10 billion of new investments in our defense industrial base right here in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and these investments will create more than 4,000 jobs. Pennsylvania workers will build the ships, submarines, trucks, weapons, and industries that will ensure America remains the strongest and most powerful nation in the history of the world. We're doing better now than we've ever done. We have $19.2 trillion. We used to go million, then we went billion, now we're into the trillions, but there's never been anything like it. The country is as hot as it's ever been, and we're doing really well with Iran. The Islamic Republic of Iran is not happy right now. Should have been done 47 years ago. Should have been done at least during the 47-year period. And it wasn't. Other presidents didn't do what was right. They should have done it a long time ago. It would have been much easier. And they want to settle so badly. They don't like what we're doing. And they do want to settle. We'll find out whether or not we settle with them or we just finish it off. But I want to thank Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. He's been amazing. Pete, thank you very much. Great job. He's been really amazing. You know, he used to do interviews. All he wanted to talk about is war. Sir, would you give a pardon to 19 soldiers? Why? Well, they killed a lot of people. They were trained to kill, and that's what they did. And I pardoned a lot of people. But they've all been well behaved, right? Okay, good. Otherwise, it'll be a big story. Trump shouldn't have let him go. But I'm blaming you, Pete, okay? But he was very successful, actually, on television. I think he probably hated it because he can't love anything more than what he's doing right now, and he's doing it incredibly well. So great job, Pete. Appreciate it. Small Business Administrator Kelly Loeffler. Kelly, wherever you may be. Thank you very much. She's great. Secretary of the Army Dan Driscoll, who's really out there with that beautiful smile. With that beautiful smile, but he's actually a killer. Look at that beautiful, nice face. Everything's so happy. He's a killer. Would you believe it? Those are the best kinds, actually. Commanding General of the Army, Trevor Bredenkamp. Trevor, thank you very much. And a couple of warriors in a different way, but they are great. Scott Perry and John Joyce, congressmen, and they are fantastic, and they've been my friends for a long time. Where are you? You've been my friends for a long time. They're tough cookies, and they want what's right for the country. Thanks as well to your amazing state treasurer, Stacey Garrity, who is running for governor, and I'm telling you, this guy Shapiro is totally overrated. I watched him the other night doing a speech, and he does not have what it takes. Maybe he'll win, and he's expected to win, but I hear things about Stacey, and I'm hearing some poll numbers that are very good, but Shapiro he doesn't have what it takes. Now, people think that's a horrible statement to make, but that's the way politics is. That's the way it is. I tell the truth. Attorney General David Sunday. David, thank you very much. Great job, I hear. And probably the most important person in the room is Senator McCormick's wife, Dina. I mean, I know Dina. Dina worked for me for 4 years. She worked for me. I know her almost as well as David, hopefully not quite as well. But Dina has been, she's been amazing, and she's gotten a very nice position as the president of Meta, working with a very good guy. So a lot of good people, but one in particular. So good luck, and doing a fantastic job. Thank you. She was great. She worked in the administration first term, and she was fantastic. We also have a big name, a very big name, a very brilliant name, somebody who's done, I guess, in the history, I'll make enemies when I say this, but I shouldn't because I think it's true. Jamie Dimon is maybe the greatest banker in this country in many, many decades. So, CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase. Thank you, Jamie. The president of General Dynamics, Danny Deep, and you know, they make the greatest submarine in the world. They just have to make them faster. Danny, will you please make them faster? That's true with all of the munitions people, actually. Faster, we need a little more speed. We have the best quality in the world, but we need a little more speed. The president of Hanwha Defense USA, Michael Coulter. Thank you, Michael. Out there. The president and total boss of Boeing, that's Kelly Ortberg, who's a terrific guy. I think he just gave me the award for being the salesman he started of the year. I said, that's not the year. Then he said, what about the decade? Nope, much more than that. So it's the salesman in the history of Boeing. I have sold more Boeing planes, over 1,000, and nobody comes close. You know what I got for that? Nothing. I get nothing. Now, if I was in the private sector, I'd say I want a piece of the company for that, right? But Kelly, you've done a great job. You're bringing it really back, and you're up to 44 planes now. At 44, they're producing the planes at a very rapid rate, and Kelly has done a tremendous job. President of Northrop Grumman, Kathy Warden, showed us a plane that I like a lot. President of Lockheed Martin, Jim Takelet. Jim, thank you very much. Thank you, Jim. Good job you're doing. President and COO of Blackstone, a friend of mine from the real estate wars. He was a brilliant guy. I always said, this guy's always there first. What's with him? John Gray, he's a real estate genius, and other geniuses. Now real estate, he doesn't even have to participate, he said, but you've done a great job, and say hello to you-know-who. He's a tremendous guy. He's been a big help. Steve has been a big help. Co-chairman of TWG Global, Thomas Tull. Thank you, Thomas. CEO of Divergent Technologies, Lucas Zinger. I just saw some of their technology. It's amazing. I saw some of those things backstage. You don't want to talk about them. They're pretty amazing. CEO of EQT, Toby Rice. Thank you, Toby. President of North America's Building Trades Unions. Is the most powerful man in the room. It's Dina for the women, and it's this guy for the men. Sean McGarvey. Thanks. Thanks, Sean. Sean McGarvey. Good guy, too. And the founder of Valor Equity Partners, Antonio Gracious, and he's somebody highly respected by everybody, including my family, my kids, and also helped us tremendously working at the early stages of the administration with costs, because we inherited a cost mess, and he was fantastic, and I want to thank him. And Elon, too. Elon did a fantastic job. This year we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of American freedom, and no state has been more central to protecting that freedom than the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is where America declared its independence, where George Washington crossed the Delaware, where the Union was saved by the heroes of Gettysburg. What a war that was when you read about it. And where Pennsylvania workers poured the iron and steel that won 2 world wars and won lots of other things in addition. With today's announcement, Pennsylvania will play a key role in building the arsenal of freedom to defend our nation in the modern world. We have things happening in this state. I think really people don't know what's happening in Pennsylvania. People aren't really, literally, they're not able to even fathom what's going on. And I'm just sitting back there. I thought I was very well aware of it. And then I'm meeting people, very well-known people, and they're saying what they're doing here. We got to get the word out a little bit, because this is very much of a miracle, highly respected people. The talent and innovation in this room will keep America safe for many years to come. They are very advanced, the most advanced equipment anywhere in the world. Under the Trump administration, we've invested a record $1 trillion in the United States military. And next year, I'm proud to say, and Pete, we have to get moving on this, $1.5 trillion we're going up to. We need it. It's all made in the USA, so it's not, as Sean, it's not fully a cost. You know, it's cost. We got to take something, but it's called jobs. And when you think of it that way, but 1.5, I built the military in my first term, and I used it in my second term. And as you know, Venezuela was actually 48 minutes, but let's call it 1 day. And we've paid for the cost of that war 50 times over, more than 50 times over already. And they've been great, the people from Venezuela. The leadership has been fantastic, and we're working with them. And the big oil companies are moving in. They've made more money for themselves in the last few months than they made in the history of the country, and it's just it's being properly run. They have oil. They have so much oil. You find the oil there, Pete, you just look down on the ground and you say, oh, that's oil. Just drill it. There's very few places that have anything like that, but we have a great relationship with the leadership. We've worked with them very closely, and we're bringing all the big American companies in, and it's been very much of a miracle. Millions and millions of barrels a day. The spirit of our armed forces is the highest it's ever been, with every branch setting records for recruitment. And I will tell you, during the campaign, when I was running against Kamala, she had no clue, but Joe had no clue either. That's why they got him out of there. I had to run against two people. Everyone else runs against one person. You do well. Joe wasn't doing too well. He was down like 28 points. So they said, let's replace him. That's like replacing a fighter. You're doing great against the guy. I said, let's put somebody else in. Fortunately, she wasn't much better than he was. And somebody said she's leading in the polls. That's not possible. But if she is, that's fine. You got to go out. You got to win. But what's happened with the election, this was an amazing election. Think of it. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by a lot. We won 82%, 87% of the counties in America. That's a big one. We won the Electoral College. We won everything. But all 7 swing states, the big thing was, could anybody ever win all 7? We won all 7 swing states, and we won them by a lot. So it was a great, great achievement. But when it came to joining the military, we had vacancies, empties. We had a situation that actually it was remedied largely, Pete, I think on November 5th when we won. It was even before we took office. It was remedied to a certain extent. And when we took office, so now we have overflow crowds trying to get into the military. And that includes our policemen, our firemen, anybody with a uniform on. They were very ashamed of our country, and now they're very proud of our country. And we're setting recruitment records like we've never had before. In fact, it's a great time if you want to expand the military a little bit. It wouldn't be bad because we have unbelievable, talented, in good shape, in unbelievably good shape. You know, we had something pass in the United States Supreme Court. It was called merit, and nobody thought that was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen, actually. We're trying to get it. And everything now in our country, again, is based on merit. Getting into colleges is based on merit. When you have somebody with great boards, great marks, all A pluses and A's and the highest board marks, and then doesn't get it because somebody with far less capability gets in, it's nasty, but it's, you know, our country was built on greatness, and it was based on success. It was based on merit. And now we have that, and that includes the military. And the people that we have in this military, you can send most of them to Hollywood, and they could become like movie stars. They are unbelievable, and you saw that in Venezuela. I met them backstage, and these are people that are. It's a whole different ball game. So I just want to thank everybody. That was a decision. That was a tough decision to make. And it took courage to make that decision. Nobody thought that was going to be made, but they gave us back our beautiful merit system, and now the best people get into the best positions. They get into the best schools. They get into the military. We actually have strong people going into the military now as opposed to people that aren't strong or that shouldn't be there. And it's like, I call it central casting. Washington, D.C., we're using the military in there, and our crime rate's down 92%, and it's gone from an unsafe city to one of the safest cities, the capital, one of the safest cities anywhere in the country. Restaurants are booming. The restaurants were all closing. People were afraid to go to a restaurant. We took out over 5,000 criminals. We got them out of here. We got them, sent them back to their country. Many of them came through the Biden open borders, which was insanity. We got them out of this country, and we did a real job in Washington, D.C., and I will say Memphis is a similar kind of a thing, a little bit. We started it a little bit later, but they're down in crime 78%. And New Orleans, Louisiana, the governor called me up, Jeff Landry, great guy. He called me and he said, we have a problem. We have the Mardi Gras coming up, and this place is loaded up with crime. And we sent in the National Guard and others, and it was the safest, that is on record, the safest Mardi Gras on record. They've never had anything like it. He called me two days later. He said, I've never seen anything like it. It's a terrible expression. He said, nobody was killed. Well, that doesn't sound so good to say, frankly, in one way, but in another way, many people would be killed during Mardi Gras consistently, and now it was the safest they've had, he said, in 67 years, so it's pretty good. But we're going out for the $1.5 trillion this year, and I think we're going to be able to get it. And we're going to get it because we have so much money coming in. The tariffs have made this country so rich, and they've made this country so competitive. In order to not pay tariffs, people are coming out and they're leaving Mexico, and they're leaving. In fact, it was just announced that Toyota is leaving Mexico. Toyota is going to build one of the largest plants in the world, car plants in the world, in Texas. But many, many companies, they left us and they went to Mexico, Canada, Japan, Germany. They went all over the place, South Korea. They're all pouring back. The car plants, the AI plants are all coming back. If they don't, they have to pay taxes. The chips, we had this ridiculous CHIPS Act where you give billions of dollars to a company and they didn't even know what the hell to do with it. You give them billions of dollars, they say they're going to build. Nobody knew what to do with it. And, of course, the standards were so high. If you weren't transgender, as an example, you didn't qualify. So they get the money, they'd look all over for transgender people to run the company, large portions. They couldn't find them. They weren't into the chip-making business, I guess, right? They had other things on their mind. But this was the Biden fools, those idiots that almost destroyed our country. But we're also reasserting the fundamental truth: to be a strong nation, you must be a manufacturing nation, manufacturing jobs. When you see these plants start to open, so we're building now at a record that we've never even, I don't think any country's ever approached this record. Again, we have $19.2 trillion being invested, and there's never been anything like it. You go back years and years, and it's China had the record with $3 trillion, and we're at $19.2 trillion. There's never been anything like it. These are going to be starting to open in 6 or 7 months. I mean, it's unfair because, you know, whoever the next president is going to be sitting up here someday and say, what a great job I did. What a great job. I did the greatest job, Jamie. He's going to be talking about what a brilliant president he is. And I'll be home and I'll be saying that, son, like, because we did the job. We did the job, and we're clearing every obstacle to building the defense industrial base. And so many people, I was shaking hands backstage, they just came up and they said, we couldn't even function 2 years ago in this country. We couldn't get anything built. We couldn't get approvals. We couldn't do anything. And now we cannot imagine the change. They said 5 or 6 of the people building defense-oriented things, they said, we have no idea how this has happened to this extent. He said, we look forward to going to work. We get our approvals fast. We came up with a concept like on AI and other things that are big. Rather than going to our old, very old and fragile grid, we maintain it, but it's old and not up to date. It was let go by a lot of people that were in my position. They shouldn't have done that. But I came up with the idea to let them build their own power plant. So they're building their own power plant. So, you know, people would complain about the grid, but actually they're giving their excess electricity back into the grid. It's a phenomenal thing. But they're coming up with power. They're doing their own. They're really becoming a utility They're becoming actually, in addition to AI, they're also becoming utility. And they're building some of the greatest power plants anyone has ever seen. We don't want wind because it's terrible. Doesn't work. These countries that go to wind, you go to wind, you lose your way, you go out of business. Look at what's happening in the United Kingdom. Wind all over the place. Doesn't work. Too expensive. Everything's made in China. And remember, you have to replace them after 8 or 9 years. You know, it's wonderful if they were there, but you got to replace them all the time because they wear out. The salt water kills them. It's ridiculous. And we have the oil and gas. We have a number of people back there with the nuclear. Nuclear is hot. It's become safe. And we got to keep it safe, but it's become safe. But we have tremendous new things happening. And some of these power plants that are being used for AI and other things that they're building are so far advanced from what you're used to. When you look at Con Edison, you look at the old companies, it's fine. They get the job done. But these are tremendous advancements that nobody would have ever come up with except for this group of seriously brilliant people. After decades of foreign countries ransacking Pennsylvania and all of our country, they ransacked our country and stealing our jobs, I imposed historic tariffs to protect the American copper, aluminum, steel, and many, many other projects like cars. And because of that, they're all coming back. This could have been done by a president if he knew you wouldn't have a Taiwan making 100% of the chips. I think by the time I leave, we'll have almost 50% of the chips being made in the United States. Worldwide, they're moving here like you wouldn't believe it. With no investment. I'm not giving people billions of dollars. I'm not saying to some chip company, here's $30 billion. Good luck in finding a site. That's what this stupid CHIPS Act was. Hundreds of billions of dollars just wasted. Half of the people never even used the money. I didn't give them 10 cents. I said, you're going to pay nothing for a year. After that, you're going to pay 10%. After that, you're going to pay 25%. Gives you 2.5 years to build your factory. If you don't build it by that time, you pay 200%, meaning you're sending chips in. You have a 200% tariff. They're building like crazy. And the biggest chip company in the world is building, and they just announced that they're expanding by another $200 billion. They're spending most of their money in Arizona, a great place to invest, but they're spending an extra $200 billion. It's the biggest chip company in the world. But we passed the largest tax cuts in American history. We delivered 100% expensing. That's a big one. I think, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country in my first term. We then got hit with COVID, but even including COVID, we did a great job in COVID. We never got credit for it, but every country was ripped apart by that disaster. We know where it came from. It came from Wuhan, and I said that. But we were all ripped apart. And China got hit very, very hard. It was delayed. They got hit very hard at the end. But it was a terrible thing. But we had the greatest economy in history. And before COVID, nobody had ever seen anything like it. But if you just took those 3 years and look at what we're doing now, we're going to blow them away. I mean, unless some horrible event happens, which is always possible. You know, we always have to at least think about the horrible events. Who would have thought that COVID could have happened? A thing like that could have happened. But we delivered 100% expensing, and that expensing, I think, where you write it off in 1 year. I have friends that bought things that, frankly, they didn't need. I have a friend that never flew on a private plane in his life, and he ended up going out buying a very expensive private plane because of expensing 1 year. And a lot of you're building your plants, more importantly than an example like that. You're building your plant and equipment. Jamie can expand his bank, write off everything in the first year. And you're doing a nice job. Your building is beautiful, by the way. It's great. You can write that sucker off in 1 year. Can you believe it? Now that stands up there, that steel. I want to know that steel contractor. He did a good job. Great job, actually. But we delivered 100%, and I felt it was very important to do so. And it goes for a 10-year period. So it doesn't just, I actually want to make it for 1 year because I figured everybody's going to come. 10 years is too long, but we had a couple of senators that really wanted, including a man named Lindsey Graham, who we love. And Lindsey, we pay you respect because he was some special guy. Lindsey, David, was a big proponent of 10 years instead of 1. In other words, you could use this for 10 years instead of 1. I said, but Lindsey, 10 years is too long. It lets them It gives them too much time. He said, oh, no, we have to do this. I said, no, go ahead, Lindsay. What the hell do you know about business, Lindsay, right? But he was great. We're going to miss him, right, David? We're going to miss that guy. What a way he was. You know, he's a guy, I'm just thinking, he's a guy that some people you don't appreciate until they're not here, right? And you just saw all the quality that he had. He got things done. He could even deal with Democrats. If I needed a Democrat, I could go to Lindsay, and Lindsay would take him out and wine him and dine him and say, I got him for you, right? There aren't too many people could do that. David and I know it very well. But the expensing was so important. I think it's really what led to the tremendous success, because we had it in the first year and in the first administration. And I think that was what led to the single most important thing, I think, in terms of investment was the one-year expensing. I think people were building, sometimes maybe they shouldn't have been, but they were building at levels, and then it caught up. We passed the largest regulation cuts in American history by far, and we unleashed American energy, including Pennsylvania oil, gas, and clean, beautiful coal. We're back in the coal business. We have so much technology and changes have been made in coal. And in the Trump administration, you're not allowed to use the word coal without preceding it by the words clean, beautiful. And Chris Wright, who you know so well, and Doug Burgum, they've been a fantastic team. And they were making a speech. And I said, nobody can say coal without preceding it with clean, beautiful. But this whole speech was on coal. And they kept saying clean, beautiful coal, clean, beautiful coal. And I said, okay, it's enough. But it is. It's and look, I hate to say it, but it's what China uses. They're building now 58 massive coal plants. And, they're responsible for building the windmills. And I said, how many windmills are they building in terms of using on their land? John, I want to know. If you see any, let us know. They got coal plants all over the place, but they build the windmills. But the only one they have that I know of is one that they want to use. They use it. They don't use it in terms of energy. They showed people, look how beautiful this is, as those poor suckers buy those windmills and lose their ass. But it's a terrible form of energy, most expensive form of energy. It's intermittent, doesn't work, and in my opinion, it kills the environment. It kills the birds, but it's visually, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's a terrible thing. And I'm proud to say that we have approved almost none, I think none, but everybody's under an order. No wind, we don't want the windmills. We don't want them. And let somebody else use them. But everybody using them is in very big trouble. They're in energy trouble because they don't work, and very expensive, most expensive form of energy, and they don't work. And I've been saying it for 4 or 5 years, and people still buy them. Maybe not quite like they used to, but people still buy them. It's crazy. But we unleashed American energy, including the Pennsylvania oil, and the Pennsylvania oil is doing unbelievably well. We saved the great American company, U.S. Steel, and I worked with Selena Zito. I don't know if Selena's here. Selena here? She's so... Where's Selena? Where is Selena? I love Selena. Where is she? She's queen of the Rust Belt. But you're no longer the Rust Belt. You're really the Money Belt. I have a new name. Selena, are you here? Come on up here, Selena, will you? She's the queen. She is the queen of the Rust Belt. Now she's the queen of the... And be careful. Don't fall down the stairs like Biden. Come on, Selena, get down here. Grab her, everybody. I want to show you a woman that knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. I had no idea she'd be here, but anything having to do with Pennsylvania, any of these great states, she's around. Well, Selena, I want to thank you. You're really a talent. That's only because she writes so well about me. If she wrote badly, I'd say, get her the hell out of here. Selena, thank you, honey, very much. We appreciate it. Really amazing person. Thank you. She loved this area. She loved the people, and she saw it going to hell. And she knew more about it than anybody else. And she also knew it had more potential because of the people. And she would write about it like nobody would believe. And she's one of the top writers in the country. And I hate to say this, she writes for the Washington Post. But she's one of her many outlets. I hate to mention that, but she's done a phenomenal job of explaining what's going on. And she really just believed in the area, but she believed in the people of the area. They're incredible. You're going to find all of you geniuses that are building your plants. You got the best people in the world working here. So just to finish up, we did more in terms of regulation cuts by 5 times, 6 times, and even in some cases, depending on the way you look at it, 7 times than any other president. We delivered no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security. And we're building a beautiful military complex and a ballroom combination at the White House, and they were working on Saturday and Sunday, partially Sunday. And I went and visited a couple of hundred men that were working round the clock. It was Saturday night, late, very late, 11 o'clock in the evening. And I said, "You're so lucky I'm president because there's no tax on overtime." Think of it. They're making a lot of money, and there's no tax on overtime. But there's no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security. And that's been good. And the other thing we did, which seems simple but never done before, when you buy an automobile, some people have to pay and they have to go and borrow money from a bank. You're allowed to deduct the interest payment from your income taxes, and that's a big deal. But only if the car is made in America. So that's been great. So all of these things have added up to a level that we're booming. The country is booming, and we'll have Iran defeated soon. They'll be defeated very soon. And then I guess it'll be even better. But, you know, even during this, it's been amazing. I mean, to think, so I call it a military operation, but I call it whatever you want. It's incredible. It's like it hasn't made a dent. A lot of people thought oil would go up to $350 a barrel, and today it's at $79. A couple of days ago, it was at $68. It went up a little bit because I had to take tough action because they did not obey what they're supposed to obey. I mean, they just didn't do it. So we took a little action, but it'll all, when that settles down, I think you're going to have $55 oil, which is all great for what you're doing, maybe less than that. But this year alone, we've added 18,000 new manufacturing jobs, and that number could go up by 10 and 15 times as these factories begin to open, including, remember Obama used to say, you'll never have another manufacturing job in the United States. Can you imagine? And these are the best jobs. These are the highest paying jobs. They're the best jobs. He used to say it all the time. People would say, oh, that's so bad you talk about him that way. But he did a bad job. And he was very bad on Iran because he basically gave them the money. He made what a horrible deal. He went away from Israel and he went to Iran. And that's part of the reason that we're stuck with this whole situation. But including more than 3,000 new manufacturing jobs right here in the Commonwealth. And the number will go up many times that over the next couple of years. And less than 2 years ago, we were a dead country. I say it all the time. King of Saudi Arabia told me, I was with him 2 years ago, he said, you know, it's amazing. Just a little while ago, you were a dead country, and now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. Every leader, I just got back from NATO, every leader said the same thing. You're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And they treated me like that. They're not treating me. They're treating me because of the country. We're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And a year ago, 2 years ago, we were a dead country. It was an embarrassment. So now, with all of that being said, just yesterday it was announced that inflation saw the largest monthly decline in 6 years. Can you imagine that? 6 years. So we inherited the highest inflation in the history of our country. And it was really amazing. You know, we inherited it. And then I had my first news conference the day after I took office. And they said, affordability. They go, that's a fake word that they use. They caused the affordability problem. It's called high prices. They came up with this word. They're good at coming up with words, but we came up with a good word too. They're Democrats, dumb. You take the B out. Most people don't know that dumb has a B, okay? But the U replaces the E, and you have a Democrat. And I just don't understand because their policy is so dumb. What they've done to this country and what they will do to the country. If we don't win the midterms or win the election, everything that I'm talking about, you can just write it off because it'll revert back to open borders. It'll revert back to ridiculous high interest rates. And again, we should have the lowest interest rate of any country anywhere in the world because we make them all sing. But since I took office, defense investments in Pennsylvania are up by nearly 25% compared to crooked Joe Biden. And today we're adding $10 billion, and I think the number is going to end up being about $19 or $20 billion. And we'll be building 2 massive national security multi-mission vessels at the beautiful and historic Philadelphia shipyard. I met all the guys doing this, worth up to $1.5 billion, and it's a purchase of lots of vessels. We're going to have a lot of vessels being made there. We're also thinking about doing some purchases outside of companies that come here and build. They have to reteach us. You know, we used to make a ship a day, and now we're a laggard in that department. We do lots of great things, but we're a laggard there. And a lot of our shipyards were sold for real estate projects on the water. I bought one, actually. It was quite nicely located, but I didn't know I'd be president. If I knew I'd be president, I wouldn't have done it. I said I'd rather have a shipyard, right? But it worked out okay. You know, they had the best locations. A lot of those locations were sold. And we have to build our Navy, Pete, right? We got to get it going. So we're going to probably look at some of these companies that are coming in from South Korea and other places, and they're working with us on ships. And we're going to also buy some ships that are made outside of the area. And we're going to have we need a lot of ships for our Navy, a lot of ships, despite the fact we have the greatest Navy in the world, but our ships are getting older. And we really got out of that business. We built an aircraft carrier for $19 billion, which is crazy. The price is crazy. It started off I came in, one of the first things I went to see was the Ford aircraft carrier. It was way over budget. And it had things on it that you didn't need, like it had magnets to lift up the elevators with 10 and 12 planes on them. Think of it. It had all sorts of modern day things that were all, instead of using steam for the catapults, they used electric. Let's have an electric catapult. And so when I went to the ship, because I came into office and the ship was way over budget, built in Newport News, unfortunately, was way over budget. It was going to cost $3 billion. It was up to like 18, 19. It was terrible. And I said, I want to meet the catapulter. And a man came over along with 4 of his assistants. And I said, what's better, electric catapult or steam? He's been there for 25 years. He said, steam is better, sir. We can fix it with a hammer and a blowtorch. When the electric goes bad, I have to send to MIT to get geniuses over here. I said, steam is better. Yes, sir, it's better. So why did they do electric? Because you can have the catapult go like this, but you can't put planes on it, sir. It takes you 39 seconds. By the time the 39 seconds is up, you have a full head of steam. And I love breathing that steam, sir. That's the cleanest air you've ever seen. But I said, so you're saying we spent billions of dollars extra to build electric catapults instead of using... And I said, what else do you hear? He said, the elevators are no good, sir. They're lifted up by magnets. So here's my deal. I said, when Caterpillar tractor, and I watch more tractors than any human being on earth, rip rock, right through rock. It's all hydraulic. So I said, when Caterpillar goes into the business of using magnets to lift up their little blades, when they go in and when they go away from hydraulic, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do something. I'm going to start using magnets, but we don't want to use them. So we're not letting we're not letting any more ships be built with the ridiculous billions of dollars more they spent on electric catapults, and they're not good. They're not nearly as good, too complex. And by the way, we had to call the ship in twice because their catapults didn't work, and I predicted that was true. And the same thing with the magnetic elevators. We want them to be made hydraulic, which it can be hit by lightning, it can be hit by anything. When a little water touches the magnets, it doesn't work anymore. And you're in the Atlantic Ocean with waves that are 60 feet high, and the Pacific Ocean with waves that are 70 feet high, and they're talking about magnets. It makes you want to get sick. I actually called in the architect of the ship, and I said, have you designed a ship before? Well, I haven't spent a lot of time on that, sir. No. Even the cab, the tower, they have it in the back instead of in the middle. It's supposed to be in the middle where you have more room. I said, why'd you move there? Well, we thought it was very good. Why did you do it? And why is the ammunition under where the admiral is, the tower? They have the tower and they have the ammunition under the tower. I say, if I'm the enemy, I know where I'm aiming. These people, and the thing costs like $20 billion. It's ridiculous. All right, so we're changing all of that, right, Peter? You'll be fired so fast if you don't. No, but a lot of this is common sense stuff, really. I mean, I hope I'm not boring anybody, but it's all common sense. This isn't exactly part of my speech, but I got to tell you. I'm getting it all out now, all the anger I have when I hear about electric catapults that don't work. Crazy. It's crazy, but okay. I hate to mention this name now because they're a little slower than we want, but that's okay. General Dynamics will invest $2.5 billion in Rhodes Industries to build Navy submarines. They make the greatest submarine in the world. We're 10 years advanced over probably Russia is number 2. We have to make them faster. That's the only thing. We need submarines, but they make a great product. In all the cases, we make. If you look at the Patriot missile, if you look at the Tomahawk, which is the offensive, if you look at all of the things, they're better. We have to make them faster. That's the only thing. And Dan, you got to get them going a little bit, right? We have to make them faster. And Pete and I have meetings with them every month, and they're all building new plant and equipment. Boeing is building it. I see Kelly, a lot of them, 4 of them, and it's very important. So this massive new investment by General Dynamics is going to create right here 1,500 new jobs. The munitions firm Day and Zimmerman in Philadelphia will provide $2.3 billion worth of operations, maintenance, and support to the Hawthorne Army Depot. And EOS in Pittsburgh have just agreed to a multi-million-dollar partnership with the Department of War to build. Don't we love that name better? We won World War I. We won World War II. Then we decide to go politically correct. Let's go with defense. No, it's war. And I said to Pete, Pete, don't you like that better? He said, used to be Department of War. And then we got politically correct. And we go in and knock out the Middle East and go home. Everybody said, why did we do that? What did we get? But we had greatness, and that's what we have again. Now we have greatness again. As an example, Venezuela. Where'd you have it? When was the last time you heard that you had a war and you paid for it 50 times over? We have wars and we lose money. We have wars, we blow up something and we leave, and everybody said, what was the purpose of that? Nobody can answer the question. We don't do that anymore. But EOS in Pittsburgh just agreed to a multi-million-dollar partnership with the Department of War to build energy storage technology in support of our Golden Dome missile defense shield. We're building a Golden Dome over our country, and it's going to be a very effective one. We had 111 missiles shot a few weeks ago by our lovely friends from Iran. They were aimed at the Abraham Lincoln, which is a beautiful aircraft carrier, by the way. The SS Abraham Lincoln, 111 in a short period of time. Out of the 111 missiles shot, 111 missiles were knocked into the sea easily. Think of that. And I called the captain of the ship. He wasn't even sweating. All you got, Jamie Dimon would be sweating that. You wouldn't like that. We have a different kind of strength, Jamie, right? We don't have that. But think of it. 111 missiles are coming at you. And he's drinking his coffee, taking it easy. And one after another, we have the greatest people, most importantly, but we have the greatest equipment anywhere in the world. There's nothing like it. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I would imagine you couldn't even think about a thing like that happening. The JWF Industries is expanding its Windber facility and anticipating over $500 million in new contracts to build new vehicles, weapons, and components, and they make great stuff. Voyager Technologies will be investing hundreds of millions of dollars in turning Pittsburgh into an international robotics and space technology hub. And the robotics is so important because, again, we have the most people working right now in the United States than ever before. We need manpower and woman power. The AI software company Air will be spending $450 million to expand their Pittsburgh office, and Carnegie Robotics in Pittsburgh will have the chance to produce hundreds of millions of dollars worth of autonomous technology for the United States Army and its vehicles. The Firepoint Energy in Tunnelton will be investing at least $170 million in pilot program to convert coal waste into jet fuel, electrical power, and critical minerals. And I hope you're going to do magnets. Somebody out there, I hope you're all brilliant people. Magnets. Do magnets. Okay, I'll tell you how to make money. Do magnets. You're doing a lot of great stuff. Do magnets. Because one thing we don't have, but we're getting close, but do magnets. So I hope John Gray is listening to me so he can give him a couple of bucks and go into the magnet business. I guarantee it's going to be a success. It's one thing we don't, for some reason, it's not complex, not hard. We have the material. For some reason, they just don't, they don't do it. We need magnets. So one of you companies out there, go out, I'll teach you how to make money. Just do it. Companies like Adelon, Kratos, Advanced Cooling Technologies, Sphere Brake Defense, J.P. Morgan Chase, and Q Intel, among many others, will be expanding their investments all across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. In addition, the defense subsidiary of the legendary Pennsylvania company, Mack Trucks. Oh, I met him the other day. Where's Mr. Mack Truck? Where the hell are you? He was great, making a beautiful, thank you very much, making a beautiful truck. He's trying to sell 15,000 of them to us, 15. I said, how many are you looking to sell? Sir, 15,000. I thought he said 15 because it's a big, beautiful truck. I made a speech 2-3 weeks ago, and they had a sample of the truck right behind where I spoke. It made me look very small, sort of like Dukakis, remember, in the tank? I said, get that truck the hell out of here. I immediately thought of Dukakis with the helmet and the massive helmet, the massive tank, and you didn't even see him. That was not good. He went down 20 points after that. So I said, get that truck out. But the truck was amazing, actually. But I said, how many? He said 15,000. I thought he said 15. So I said, he's going to sell 15. That's a lot of trucks. He said, no, actually 15,000, sir. So, but it's a beautiful truck, and I think he's got a good shot at doing it. And he'll be building $222 million worth of powerful new vehicles for our military already in a different truck. And Mack Truck is doing really well, and they've been great. And because we're here in Pennsylvania, where State Trooper Michael Farrow was killed just 2 weeks ago by an illegal alien operating a semi-truck on a commercial driver's license, which he should never have had. He was here illegally, came in through Biden. Today, I'm making one more important announcement. My administration will soon take historic action to get illegal alien truck drivers who are just killing a lot of people. They can't read signs. Many of them are on drugs or alcohol, and they shouldn't be driving these things. And they came in totally illegally, and we don't want them, but they are driving all over American roadways, and we're going to replace them with proud American veterans who are going to take our veterans, who are going to make them, we're going to teach them a lot about driving trucks, and in many cases they know. We're going to say any American who's driven a heavy truck for our military will automatically be eligible for a commercial driver's license. So we're going to get them taken care of. And the radical left is very much opposed to that, but it doesn't matter what they want because we're the ones that are running it. And just to finish, I want to thank our great Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He's fantastic, that man. And the House Budget Chairman, Jody Arrington, for launching an effort to get the Save America Act passed, including voter, it's so basic, voter photo ID identification, proof of citizenship, and hopefully no corrupt mail-in ballots. We'll have exceptions for the military. We'll have exceptions for disability, for people that are not feeling well, or for people that are on vacation or anything. We're going to make it very easy. But the mail-in ballots, you see what happens in California. The vote still isn't counted. Can you believe it? It's like, 6 weeks? The vote still isn't counted. But the kid really, he was Spencer Pratt. I don't know Spencer Pratt. He came to the White House and saw me. But Spencer Pratt was an automatic lock, and he didn't make it. There was a little thing, Dina. They said, well, Spencer's falling behind a woman that nobody ever heard of. He's falling behind. No, it's very corrupt. And they were going to do that to Steve Hilton, too. And I had the U.S. attorney, did a great job. He started an investigation. They said, Steve Hilton is starting to fall badly behind. And I said, that doesn't mean falling behind. That means cheating is going on. This is 2 weeks after the election. So I got the U.S. attorney involved. And like 20 minutes after they made that statement, they said, Steve Hilton just made the runoff. These are crooked people. These are crooked people. The whole thing is terrible. But along with our incredible farmers and funding for our troops, so we're getting a tremendous amount of funding for our farmers, and we take care of our troops. We got them a great pay raise. But I support those efforts, and we're cheering them on. And the actions that we've announced today will create thousands of new Pennsylvania jobs, and they'll make our entire nation stronger and more prosperous than ever before. We have the strongest nation that we've ever had. We have the most successful nation that we've ever had. We've never had a thing happen. So many people, the biggest people came, financial people said, well, sir, I've been in business for 35 years. One gentleman, he looked like a young man, but he said 35 years, so he blew it. But he said, I've been in business for 35 years. I've never seen anything like what's happening right now. I'll bet Jamie would say that. I'll bet John would say that. There's never been a period of time like this. So I want to thank, again, Senator McCormick, once again, for this incredible get-together, but really, much more importantly, for the outstanding work that he's doing as a senator. He's an incredible person. And Pennsylvania has never had a greater warrior, the U.S. Senate, than Dave McCormick. And it's an honor to be with you all. And we're going to do things that nobody would believe. If you go back 2 years when we were a failing nation, nobody would believe that we could be doing business and we could be even safety. The lowest murder number since 1900. Think of that. The lowest number since 1900, 125 years ago. Nobody would believe we have the lowest crime numbers, despite the fact that millions and millions of people came into our country illegally, and many of them were, they're gone now, but many of them were from prisons, they were drug addicts, they were from mental institutions. We have the lowest crime numbers we've had in decades and the lowest murder number in 125 years. So it's really been amazing. And David, I'll give it to you. I'll turn it out, but it's just an honor. I'm with so many people that I respect so much. I don't know all of you. I know many of you through reputation, through reading, but you're an amazing group of people, and you really are making our country great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are so honored to have you here. I know you've got a special love for Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania has a special love for you. And this is all about your vision of peace through strength. And what's happening here at this summit is really all the people we need in the room, the prime contractors, the energy leaders, the emergent technologies, the leaders in labor, the leaders in finance, all the team that needs to be in place to implement your vision. So if it's all right with you, what I'd like to do is turn to the Secretary of War, let him make some remarks, and then draw in some of the business leaders we have here. And I'll say the one little story is when I was on the campaign trail with the president, one time I walked off the stage and he said, you know what I like about you? He said, you don't talk too much. He said, you don't go on and on. There was somebody else there, I won't say who it was. He goes, going on and on. He goes, keep it short. And so we'll all keep it short. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator, that was a good warning and a good reminder. For sure. Mr. President, it is true to say that there has never been a moment like this or a stage like this where innovators, prime contractors, private equity, titans of industry, labor leaders, defense leaders have come together for this type of moment. There's never been a moment like this where the aperture has opened up inside the Department of Defense for defense and the second word, innovation. Your demand of me as a business leader and a builder is that we move at the speed of business and competition and speed and scale. And that's what these folks have funded and founded in their companies. But our bureaucracy was built to keep most of you out.
And we've been waging a war of attrition against the Pentagon bureaucracy to open up the aperture and make sure competition and speed and innovation and commercial options have a seat at the table. Not just great prime contractors who've been there for a long time, but many of our great companies that make many of our best systems started to look a lot more like the government than they looked like business. And so what the president does behind the Resolute desk with prime contractors, and you've been at those meetings and I've been at those meetings, and it's a reminder to all of us that our nation needs the best weapons, not tomorrow, but today. And we need these companies not just adding an extra shift to the factory, but investing in another plant and another plant and another manufacturing line, which is what's happening here in Pennsylvania and all around the country. So when you talk about the arsenal of freedom, this is only something that a builder-in-chief could unleash, and you're doing it, sir, on American manufacturing and our industrial base across the country in energy. But in defense specifically, this is a generational investment in the future of our warfighting capabilities that our country has not seen since Ronald Reagan, and this one is bigger. Because what Joe Biden and previous administrations did to our military, you talk about a dead country. Well, we had a dead department, a Department of Defense, that was doing things the old way, sending the same money in the wrong direction, red tape, and monopolizing certain platforms. And you said we won't do it anymore, and the American warfighter requires that we change how we do these things. And we're going to hold the big guys accountable, which is what you do behind the Resolute desk with executive orders and no stock buybacks and no more delays. And we demand that you build new plants. And then we're also going to make sure the new runners, the fast runners, the young guys, the companies, the tech companies, our best innovators have the ability to get into the Defense Department. You shouldn't have to sue your way in to the Department of War, which is what companies in the past have had to do in order to compete. I hope these companies can attest the fact that because of President Trump's leadership, we have an entirely different department. And it's important because we're at an entirely different moment. Not only do we have near-peer adversaries with historic military buildups, but we're at a step-change moment. AI and frontier models, autonomy, quantum, space, hypersonics, you name it. If you're ahead now and you get ahead of the game, you're going to be way ahead. If you fall behind now, you fall even further behind. The have-nots and the haves, that gap is widening. President Trump sees the moment and is investing in it in our department, but across government to make sure the 21st century is an American century. But he's demanding that we do it differently. We do it in a fiscally responsible way. We audit our department. We ensure that the money that we ask for is well spent. So we've got a different department, a different moment, and thank God we have a different president who rebuilt the military once. He's doing it again and is willing to make a historic investment, $1.5 trillion investment in the War Department to ensure that we outcompete, without question, every other nation on planet Earth, so that things like Venezuela can continue to be done to reestablish deterrence around the world. But that next midnight hammer that's required 10, 20 years down the road is because of the F-47 and the B-21 and the autonomy and the carriers that this president will build because of this historic investment. The Golden Dome that protects our country, the AI that allows us to target faster. This investment will fundamentally change the battlefield, keep the American people safe now and into the future, and it would not happen with Donald Trump. Mr. President, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thanks for everything you're doing. You know, last year, it was almost a year to the day, Mr. President, where you were in Pittsburgh for the Energy and Innovation Summit that Dina and I hosted. And one of the biggest announcements on that day was John Gray from Blackstone, a $25 billion announcement. And so I thought we might start with a year later. Here's where we are. And I think what you're hearing from the business leaders in this room, the people in Pennsylvania, is the amount of investment and the level of activity is on fire. And John's a perfect example of that. So, John, if you could just give us a quick update.
Sure. It's great to be here in Pennsylvania. President Trump, I want to start by thanking you for the deep commitment to supporting investment in American innovation in infrastructure, AI, and defense. Senator McCormick, I want to commend you once again and Dina for hosting a summit here in Pennsylvania focused on the vital national imperatives. We were together a year ago in Pittsburgh. We announced that $25 billion. in digital and energy infrastructure. We said we'd do it over a decade. Since then, we've acquired multiple data center sites. We've made enormous progress in our joint venture with local utility PPL, and we're proud to report that we're on track to invest over $40 billion and do it in 5 years. $50 higher, 50% less time, not bad. These investments will create nearly 20,000 good-paying construction and permanent jobs, deliver meaningful benefits to communities, and help ensure that America stays at the forefront of the AI race. This would not have happened without the conference that you and the President hosted last year. We also got tremendous support from the governor in terms of infrastructure development. Everybody loves to complain that things are not working in the United States. Well, in Pennsylvania, they're working the way the founders intended 250 years ago. So congratulations to all of you. I would also just say last year, we talked about building critical infrastructure to power the innovation economy. Today, we're talking about applying that innovation to our most important priority, protecting our national security. At Blackstone, we're incredibly proud to be all in on both of these objectives. Technology is, as the Secretary noted, fundamentally reshaping the national defense. It's going to require enormous amounts of private capital, not only to invest in the new innovation, but also to scale up production in a capacity-constrained world. And Blackstone is ready to help in a very big way. We've already invested $20 billion in defense and aerospace in the last 5 years. We expect the scale and pace of that investment to increase meaningfully from here. We see national security as a compelling place to deploy capital on behalf of our investors that also supports a core American interest. So thank you, President Trump, Senator McCormick. It is an honor to be here today.
Thank you, John. You know, sir, you noted this, but one of the strongest voices in corporate America, someone who has spoken out in very similar terms as you have about peace through strength and about the need for America's military and economy to be strong, is Jamie. And Jamie's really taken this on. He's written extensively about it and made this a priority for J.P. Morgan in terms of national defense and resilience. So, Jamie, I wanted to just call on you and ask you to describe why you think this is such a priority and how the things we're doing here and the President's agenda is supporting that.
So thank you. Mr. President, Mr. Secretary, Senator, there's nothing more important for our country, and in fact, don't think it's an exaggeration to say for the whole free and democratic world, that America maintain the preeminent military supported directly by the preeminent economy of the world. It's none too soon. We got behind, but God knows this is now, you guys have ignited the American dream, and you've ignited security and resiliency. You've reignited that arsenal of democracy that we have in this country, and it's just critical. There's a microcosm in Philadelphia, obviously in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. I was at the Philadelphia Navy Yard this morning. There's only a small piece of what we're doing, and a small piece of what a lot of other people here are doing. That Navy Yard actually built ships in the Revolutionary War, ships in World War I, ships in World War II. It was closed down at one point, but the local government and the federal government have reopened it up. You now have ships that are going to be built there by Hanwha, a Korean company, and Rhodes Industries. They're both adding 400 or 500 jobs. People should remember when they add those jobs, there are another 5,000 jobs to be added to support it. A lot of small vendors, contractors, et cetera. And we're also helping, very importantly, to ignite that American dream part, is to get the kids, whether older or younger, whatever their backgrounds, were trained. And there's a school there, partially by Hanwha and partially by the government, to train welders. These welders get paid while they're in an apprenticeship. They get health care while they're in an apprenticeship. When they graduate, I think after 16 weeks or something like that, they make $80,000 a year. That is the American dream. They go on and buy a house, get married, have a family, et cetera. And this is one small effort, and that's one microcosm. We need to do this around the nation, in fact, to help some of the other nations around the world, friends and allies, do the best they can to rebuild some of their militaries. So my hats are off. I applaud everyone in this room who's helped with this effort. There's nothing more important to leave this world safe for our children. Mr. President, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. I know you know Jim Takelet well from Lockheed. A small fun fact. So when Lieutenant McCormick got on the plane to deploy for the Gulf War, Captain Takelet was the pilot of the plane out of Pope Air Force Base in North Carolina. And so we've known each other. I guess we got to know each other the last decade or so. But Jim and all the major primes have big operations in Pennsylvania. And Jim, I think you have an announcement even today that I was unaware of until earlier today, which is great news. So please give us a quick update on what you're doing in PA.
Definitely, Senator.
Remember that thing he said to me about short.
First of all, Mr. President, thank you for inspiring all of us to get together at an event like this. Secretary Hegseth, really appreciate your driving the acquisition transformation that is very much needed, as you just described. And Senator, this is an amazing gathering for organizing it. You and Dina, really, we all owe you our thanks, so I appreciate doing that. So I was born and raised on the north side of Pittsburgh. My dad was a Boilermaker. And if I could have welded a straight bead and passed his test, Sean, I'd probably be in Boilermakers Local 154 in Pittsburgh right now. But it worked out that I'm here today with you. And people like my dad from Pennsylvania, the workers that we have in this state, are why we have 5,000 employees here already. And what we're going to announce today is in our Archbald, Pennsylvania plant, where we make missile components for air defense missiles, sir. We're going to add another 700 jobs. We're going to double the size of the plant, invest $60 million, and add 160,000 square feet to that plant, doubling its size. And that's on top of $300 million we just completed investing in our Valley Forge operation, which does strategic missile reentry, among other things. And you know, Mr. President, that we're going to invest upwards of $9 billion in the next 3 years at 20 different sites. Looking forward to showing you some of those plans when you have time. And we are going to continue to build with you and with the Secretary the arsenal of democracy, and Pennsylvania will be ground zero for that effort. Thanks, Senator.
Thank you. And just real quickly, I'll keep us going. Danny Deep from General Dynamics. Danny is the president, and I had a chance to tour that 155 facility in Scranton, and you've got assets across Pennsylvania, another huge employer. Just give us a quick update on what's going on in Pennsylvania, how you see the future expanding based on what's the president's policies that have been put in place.
Thank you, Senator. Secretary, Mr. President, thank you for your leadership here at home and abroad. It is inspiring. So here in Pennsylvania, when you talk about manufacturing muscle, this is really where we have a lot of muscle. 1,100 suppliers, 8 facilities around the Great Commonwealth. Over the last number of years, we've expanded artillery production by 4x. And over the next several years, we'll see it continue to grow. You mentioned Rhodes Industries and that $2.5 billion award. Let me give you a little bit on Rhodes Industries because it's a great story. This is a multi-generation company with family ownership, and they keep their promises. And now they have 10 years to look forward and add resources. Their workforce will increase by 5x. And they're expanding, and we're doing that all over the state with all of these 1,100 suppliers. And thank you for your leadership to do that. And we're committed to deliver Virginia-class and Columbia, and that's what Rhodes is going to work on. And we don't make aircraft carriers.
Thank you, Danny. You know, your administration has been very active. The Secretary of the Navy, your Transportation Secretary in the Philadelphia shipyard. What is happening there is magical. And we have Michael Calder here as the CEO of that U.S. operation. But it is with Hanwha's oversight and leadership, we are bringing next generation shipbuilding back to the United States. And it's incredibly exciting. Maybe just give us a quick update on that, Michael.
Thank you, Senator. President Trump, I want to start by saying thank you to you and your administration for your leadership on revitalizing the defense industrial base and in revitalizing shipbuilding in the United States. Mr. Secretary, I've been in aerospace and defense industry for decades. This is the most business-friendly, industry-friendly administration we have ever seen. the access, the dialogue between the Pentagon and all of my colleagues in industry is like nothing we've ever seen. We greatly appreciate it. Because of that access, the President's leadership, and the demand signal, Mr. President, that you have sent on defense budget, we now have an environment that Senator McCormick has been able to pull together here where we have defense industry leaning forward, we have private sector, private capital leaning forward. Mr. President, your leadership has led to all of that. We're very grateful for the opportunity to build the radar ships that you announced today. They will be a central part of the defending the homeland from the missile threats that you have also made a priority. As you mentioned, sir, our shipyard in Korea puts out about one ship a week. We have a plan to bring that capability to Philadelphia. You know this better than anybody, Mr. President, but ships win battles, shipyards win wars. And we are going to recreate what has been great in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, home to the nation, home to the Navy, home to naval shipbuilding with the first frigate. It is going to be the home to make American shipbuilding great again, and we're very glad to be part of that, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And was I right? One ship a year 2 years ago, and the goal was to get to 20 ships a year? Think of it, 1 ship a year to 20 ships a year. That's the path that's happening because of the policies, the emphasis on shipbuilding. We're still not where we need to be, but a huge step forward. You know, this whole summit also, Mr. President, we have the defense primes here, but we have a lot of emergent technologies. There's 130 booths up here, Pennsylvania companies, AI, drones. It's incredible what we're seeing. And there's all sorts of capital coming into these emergent technologies in the defense tech space. And we have at the table here 2 of the really most successful investors in defense tech. So I'd like to ask them both to comment on that, because our future, as the Secretary said, is not just doubling down on the existing primes, although they play an incredibly important role. It's bringing in new entrants and new technologies and disruptors. And that's what we need for the future. So Antonio Gracias, who you know well, has been extremely successful in this space. Maybe you could give us a thought, Antonio, and then I'll turn to Thomas Toll.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it very much, and thank you, Dave, for inviting me. Mr. President, it's been extraordinary. You know, I've been working in manufacturing defense tech actually since the mid-'90s, and there's never been an environment like this. You're right, Secretary Hegseth, never. We have 5 companies here today, Anduril, Saronic, Hadrian, General Matter. We are literally seeing an environment and change at the DOW that is allowing these companies to accelerate and unleashing American entrepreneurship in the defense area. It's truly extraordinary, and I want to thank you. We needed it as a country for redistribution. We also need to defend ourselves. I think about my own children. If they're fighting a war, what they want to have, that's how we decide to invest in. And clearly, we want this technology. Thank you. We're very grateful.
Thank you, Antonio. Thomas?
I live here in Pennsylvania, and the atmosphere that you've created, sir, under your leadership, Secretary Hegseth, Senator McCormick, we've invested billions of dollars in defense tech because we know that we need it. We know that we have to, we live in a dangerous world, and we have to defend that, and we have to be leaders. We've invested in companies like Gecko Robotics here in Pittsburgh, and without the change that you're causing, these things aren't possible. So I just want to say thank you very much, and it's going to make a massive difference for the next 20 years.
You know, Mr. President, one of the things that you talked about constantly on the campaign trail, and that I tried to talk about as well, and that you've been focused on like a laser, is jobs. And what's happening here in Pennsylvania is that if you go to talk to any manufacturer or any job site, they can't get the skilled workers they need because there's so much new investment and activity going in. So we need to take advantage of this moment and build the workforce. In Pennsylvania, we have an incredibly skilled workforce. As I said earlier, we have 190,000 people that work in the defense industry. We hope that number is going to double over the next 5 or 10 years. But one thing I think we can all agree on is the American dream is going to be pursued and captured by creating these great paying jobs for the next generation of folks. And Sean McGarvey, who has become a friend. I called him during the campaign, and he didn't think you or I was going to win. And we bet a steak dinner, and he ended up losing on that steak dinner and has been a great ally in terms of what we need to do for our workforce to be successful. So, Sean, maybe you could say a few words, what you're seeing and what the workforce of the future needs to look like.
Well, thank you, Senator, Mr. Secretary, Mr. President, and the President knows, my business better than I know my business. We've been in the workforce development business when it comes to construction skills for 100+ years. We have 1,600 training centers across the United States. We spend $3 billion of our own money every year. We don't need any money from anybody in the audience, anybody on the podium, the federal government. We got our own. We have 21,000 instructors. We have 300,000 plus people in our programs right now, registered apprenticeship, and we can ramp that up to 1 million. So we can meet the needs of this industry and the other industries, the tech industry, the power generation industry. But what we need is deals, and we need deals way further up the pipeline when other decisions are being made. Our members, have historically been just great patriots in this country, whether it was World War I, World War II, entering the Seabees to build the airstrips and the bases across the world, the Manhattan Project, building Oak Ridge, Savannah River, you name it, and still working in those facilities today, all the way up to COVID, when we had to keep hospitals open, build temporary morgues. It was the members of the building trades that stepped up and did it. So we believe that highly skilled craft workers are a national security issue, and we are prepared to meet any needs necessary right here in Pennsylvania for Senator McCormick or for anybody across this country, and we appreciate the opportunity to do so for our country. Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks for the great support for everything you've done on our workforce. Mr. President, I think I might ask the Secretary, Dan Driscoll, to make a few remarks and maybe close on that. I just want to say this has been an extraordinary event in the Army and the Army War College, which you're here, the 4th president in America's history to visit here since the Revolutionary War, the Carlisle Arsenal, the Army War College, and the Army's been extraordinary. So, Mr. Secretary, first of all, thank you to General Breitenkamp and everybody that made this possible. But maybe give you a word, and I'll close and then turn to the President.
Mr. President, Secretary of War Hegseth, your leadership, what it's fundamentally done for the people in my life every day, the American soldier, is you have unleashed them to do what they joined the Army to do, to be ready to fight and win our nation's wars. And we had gotten in their way for the last 30 and 40 years. We had not let all of these entrepreneurs come get in the mud with them and help them change what they could use to fight. And it is because of you, Secretary, and you, Mr. President, that all of the regulatory nonsense has been knocked out of the way. And I think if you talk to any of the soldiers, sir, on your way to the helicopter, what they will tell you is the last 18 months have looked nothing like most of their careers. And that is because all of you on this stage and everyone out in the audience. So thank you so much for being here.
Mr. President, just let me close with the following remarks. I think we're in the middle of an enormous transformation in America that's being led as a result, or taking place as a result, of your leadership. The defense industrial base, making sure our military is ready to take on these many challenges we see and evolves in a way that's able to ensure that we are going to remain the greatest military in the world. Under your leadership, that's happening. So thank you for that. On a personal note, I want to thank you for coming to Pennsylvania. I know it's hard with your amazing schedule, and you've done this twice. You did it last year, you did it this year. It is a catalyst for action. It's making huge things happen in Pennsylvania. Dean and I are so grateful that you're willing to do this for Pennsylvania and for our country. So thank you. We're eternally grateful, and we really appreciate your leadership. Sir, would you like the final word?
Well, I just want to say thank you all very much. This is an honor that I won't forget, and I appreciate your saying I've been here twice,
which is pretty much maxed out once a year, but I'll be here again next year for you. Thank you.
Thank you
all very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 45th and 47th President of the United States. Thank you.
Wow. Looks like he had someplace to be. Who knows? I was looking to see if Pete Hegseth followed him, but Pete Hegseth went the other direction. So I'm not sure what's going on because, as you guys know at this point, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in Iran. I had a bunch of more stories for you. I wanted to get to a preview of tomorrow night, but we've already been here for 3 hours, so I can't torture you that much longer. And or SV. Let's see if he's got any breaking news. I'll do the other stories tomorrow. You got anything before we close? Because, like, wow.
I was still doing the.
I had told Ashley I'm not sure how long he's going to go for. I definitely didn't expect another 3-hour show here today, but nonetheless, it's a lot of stuff going on. I see you got something from OSINT Defender here. What exactly is this one?
Yeah. That was, I'm bringing up my screen. So this was about an hour ago. Just saying the second wave of U.S. airstrikes is now underway against Iranian military targets. The publicly visible air picture over the Strait of Hormuz region shows 3 U.S. Air Force KC Pegasus, 2 U.S. Air Force KC-135 Stratotankers. I guess those are the refuelers. 1 U.S. Air Force E-3 Sentry Airborne Early Warning and Control AWACS aircraft. The visible aircraft below represent only a small portion of the force supporting operation. Additional fighters, ISR platforms, and other support assets are almost certainly airborne, but not broadcasting on publicly accessible flight tracking networks. This is amazing how you can just find this stuff. I mean, I guess if we can see it, the enemy can see it. Well, they don't have anything left. I mean, they have 2 cups in the string. What do you think, guys? I don't know.
If I'm on the ground in Iran and I'm looking at this, I'm finding a ditch someplace. I'm finding someplace where I can.
Exactly.
The guys who are thumping their chest on social media aren't the ones who got to duck this stuff. You know, they're like, "Can you guys shut up? Stop antagonizing him. He means business." Oh my God!
I tell you, you posted something from Jayapal. Why don't we? I would love to have her. I'll pay to have her go to Iran. Like, I want to see how long she lasts over there.
You saw that? I mean, you saw that post? Oh my gosh!
Oh well, no!
Now we got to let everybody else know. So
well, you have to.
While President Trump was talking in the background, I still do work, and SV still does work. We do research to see like what's going on. And so she decided to put up a stupid post. She's pissed off that Pete Hegseth is giving soldiers testosterone treatments.
Shot, yeah.
And this was her response.
Now, just an hour ago, the Secretary of Forever Wars, Pete Hegseth, said that they are going to provide hormone therapy for male service members who don't have enough testosterone. This, by the way, is gender-affirming care. And by the way, male members of this committee, watch what you vote for. Do you really want the government getting into your business, taking your testosterone levels, and determining whether or not you have enough testosterone? Are you male enough to be in Congress? That is the question. Now, to go from the absurd to the very, very, very serious. In the past year, 40% of transgender and non-binary young people seriously considered attempting suicide. Instead of shaming and targeting them for seeking the care they need, as Republicans constantly do, let us provide support to them.
I want them to have support, psychiatric support.
Yes.
I welcome that you would go to see a doctor and have that doctor say, "You're going to do what? You're going to lop off your junk? You're sicko. You're a whack job."
Oh, did you see my reply? Did you see my reply?
I didn't see that. Yeah, let me see.
Whenever I hear her speak, I see this.
Well, you know what the other problem is with what she said and it gives you a peek into the mind of a Democrat. She was talking about forced injections. Did you hear how she phrased that? You want the government getting involved?
Actually, I didn't catch it. Yeah.
She's
Okay.
talking about forced stuff. Well, you already did that.
Yeah,
In
like
fact,
the COVID,
a couple years ago, I remember you were forcing people to take a jab. Oh my gosh!
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I want to support her. I mean, I think she's missed some of her estrogen. I think I'm going to buy her a razor. Her eyebrows are getting kind of thick.
Oh my God! Oh God!
White liberal women.
Oh, that's great. Oh, I like the one below it. It's like insane.
Yeah.
Just like you said, they don't even hide it. Not one. That's
Yeah.
what you said earlier. Not one
earlier,
Democrat showed up. Oh, look at it.
It's always the eyes.
She's got Marty Feldman eyes. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. I love Young Frankenstein. That was one of the best movies ever. Hey, I like your knockers. Hey, what kind of brain did you get? I got an Abby normal. What?
I mean, it was absolutely. I don't even know how she made that comparison. We're going to take voluntary men who would like to enhance their levels, and somehow she turned it into some advertisement for Transformers.
I wonder how those brains work. Is it like a dog? Like, whoa, hey, look, a squirrel. I mean, right?
Be careful who you vote for, because like what? What? They're doing it voluntarily. That's
Exactly.
the part she had a problem.
All right, that's all I have for you, Barry. I know.
I don't know if this is live or not. No, he
getting back on Marine One, right?
Yeah, they were just replaying it. What he had said about bombing some more. See, they're all desperate to know what's happening. Nobody wants to talk about what's going to be happening tomorrow night, but nonetheless, we shall indeed find out what's happening.
He pump faked him last time. Didn't he do that once before?
Yeah, we were all set for something, and he had to do something with Maha, and everybody was like, "Huh, that's it." So who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? What I can confirm is, I don't know if you guys have this tool. I think it's just for paid members of X. Let me see if I can show this to you guys, if it allows me to do this. All right, there's a tool in X. I don't know if you've ever used it, SV. Have you ever used this tool? Hold on, let me bring the screen back up. There's a tool called Radar, and when you're using Radar in X, you can put in queries and you can ask it to go ahead and search certain queries. And so this particular query was Trump announcement on Thursday night. How many people are talking about it? And it charts it over the last 7 days. So before, obviously, there was 0 because nobody was talking about it. Then it shot up and peaked, and now it dropped considerably, almost in half. Now, I only have this searching people who are verified and things of that nature. So to weed out a lot of fluff and things of that nature. But there were, so far, there's been 4,000 mentions of Trump announcement for tomorrow night, but it's dropped off the table. I mean, as soon as you see that, that tells me nobody wants to be talking about it anymore, or rather, the media doesn't want to talk about it. The blue check people don't want to talk. They're hoping it just nicely goes away. It peaked, and then you can just see it just dropped off so that tells me they're terrified of what's going to be coming tomorrow night. Absolutely terrified.
Can you run that on Blue Sky? I bet it'd be 100%.
Unfortunately, I am not a member of Blue Sky.
JD Vance is.
I do want to show you this, because just to give you an indication of what to look forward to tomorrow, David Axelrod, who was Obama's chief strategist, he posted this. If POTUS really trots out talking about Bill Pulte, Kash Patel, and a crew of political apparatchiks posing, they're not real, posing as intel experts on Thursday night to announce they've uncovered, quote, evidence of foul play, it'll only heighten fears that he'll claim a quote emergency down the line and claim extraordinary Fed powers over elections. If so, and here's where he's actually putting the warning out. If so, and there are plenty of other signs of manipulation brewing, he's making a lot of allegations here without saying if so, because there's also a lot of other stuff. The most important battle of the midterms may be in the courts. So they're already acknowledging that they're going to have to sue their way out of something that's coming.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's going to be, but that's what they're saying at this point.
The panic is real.
It's very real. When you're going, if this was put up on the 14th, so this was at last night sometime, 8:32 p.m. If you did that at 8:32 p.m., telling people we're already going to have to start looking at what we need to do in court to fix this, they're already terrified, terrified. But the thing is, President Trump knows that as well. Yeah. And he knows that whatever he announces, whatever action he takes, it has to be something that the Supreme Court already has ruled on. That's what to look forward to. But I'll go through all the game planning tomorrow. We'll have the color analysis and everything and do that. But
that'll be another short show.
I'll start it at like 8:30 and like 11 o'clock. We'll have to order pizza or something.
Get your coffee ready, folks.
All right, thanks.
It'll be a long one. All right, have a good night.
All right. Yeah, I'll have a bunch of stuff to talk to you guys about tomorrow that I couldn't get to today. I mean, by the time after party's over, we'll be at 3.5 hours. Wow. All right, hold on. Let me do super chats and then we can get out of here. I hope you guys wait. What the heck is going on here with the link? 1 second. Hold on. Give me 90 seconds. While I was configuring the super chats there, I went back to the future. This clip is when President Trump was just arriving at the Pennsylvania venue. So I just put that on. But All it is him getting off the Marine One helicopter there. All right, so let's go ahead and do super chats. All right, so what do we got here? This is from Scruffy Mama. I too have questions about debt and the debt company you advertise. That's pdsdebt.com. Terrified of using those because they destroy your credit as much as bankruptcy. Own a home but can't borrow against it. Great income but massive debt. So if you've got great income but you have massive debt, go ahead and email me. Maybe I can help you with the refi and show you how to do that to get out of that. But PDS debt, from everybody I've talked to, works well with people who are behind on their debt too. Yeah, you may not be in that situation, but I can help you and direct you, depending on what state you are, somebody who can help you with that. If you own your home and your credit, you don't want to destroy your credit, so you say your credit's probably pretty good. Yeah, send me an email and I'll put you in touch with somebody. This is him getting off Marine One. Okay, that's where we came in. So we went full course Back to the Future. I didn't catch him getting off the Air Force One last time. All right, here we go. Barry, wait a second. Let me turn these speakers down. Okay. Barry, I've learned so much from you, crypto, gold, silver, AI, and I'd absolutely welcome participating in a Zoom call to learn more about the government real estate program. I've searched on my own, but only get met with negativity. Who do you get met with negativity? Yeah, I can show you that. I'm pretty sure we're going to have to do that because I'm getting a lot of emails and contacts from people who say, can we do a Zoom type class to go over all these different opportunities? Yes. And maybe when Ashley gets back home, we can see if we can get Scott Turner on. I don't know if you saw the interview I had with him, but he's the director of HUD, so maybe we can talk about some of those things. Good idea. Chiosap, a lot of the money that the Somalians took out went to Dubai. I bet you Dubai is struggling now with groups of Somalis driving around in Bugattis. Probably. I was thinking that too. They didn't go back to Somalia, that's for sure. Trump's speech, as I come to you tonight, thousands of Democrats are being rounded up and sent to Gitmo for the charge of treason. No one is above the law. I would love to think that's exactly either has happened or will be happening, but I'm sure if it was, the media would be talking about it. We're going to talk about that some more tomorrow night as well. Meanwhile, video plays in background of Schiff on the floor with a knee to his head. Nancy and Kamala handcuffed with wine bottles. Wishful thinking. And Kelly, thank you. Cheers up again for a couple. Kurds are attacking IRGC from the south, so they're getting hit from two different directions. Wow. So if no one's working, who makes the stuff? That's a good point. He's talking about the socialists because the socialists are saying we shouldn't have to work. Everything should be free. What they're talking about is they want to seize the means of production. So the other socialists will own the grocery store, and it doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. It's insane. Let's see here from John. Hey, John, I haven't heard from you in a while. Trick real estate question. If you went through a really bad run and you woke up tomorrow morning with only 50K, what would you do to get back to real success? So if you're saying real estate question, if you went through a really bad run and you woke up tomorrow morning with only 50K, what would you do to get back? I don't understand how that's a trick question. Pretty simple. If you got $50,000 cash available to you, you pretty much can do whatever you want. I don't know if you're saying, would you go into wholesaling? Would you try to do some renovation, fix and repair? But if I was trying to build more money, I wouldn't yet go into a hold strategy. So let's go ahead and take that off the table. I don't want to hold the money and buy a property that I'm going to hold. So I'm either going to do a fix and flip or I'm going to do a wholesale deal. Either way, those are quick turn money, so I can make sure I can grab cash off the table rather than have to wait an extended period of time. But before I did anything, I would make sure I had a couple different things in place. A contractor or a very, very good handyman who's got some contacts. And I would also make sure, most importantly, that I have a hard money lender ready to go. Someone who's already checked me out, someone who's already done their approvals on me, and they'll say, hey, Barry, if you put up this much money, you can get this much of a loan to buy X much of a house. So at $50,000, let's say that's a 20% down payment, you're looking pretty good. You're looking very good. I mean, a $300,000 house, 250. You're right about there. If you did it alone, you could take down about a $300,000 house, get a hard money loan. But then you want to make sure you got money to fix up. So me personally, if I only had $50,000 to play with, and I'm coming off a bad run meaning lost money, something happened. Well, I would find a hard money lender right away. I would find out all the parameters of that hard money lender. I would also seek out private investors to go into a deal with me and see what they're looking at. And then I would also make sure I know my market inside and out. You know, as my grandson is down here training for football, the trainers have been telling him, you have to eat, sleep, and drink football. You need to know everything about the people that you're going to be playing with before they even step on the field. You need to know what this kid had for breakfast. Well, I have to have the same way in real estate. And as Ashley is working now in the real estate side of things, it's the same way. Hey, and I've shown her, as you're looking at houses, look, check here, check this box, check that box. So you know all the different reasons why you should or why you shouldn't buy a particular property. It goes, then it becomes second nature, like watching a game film in a football game. She's getting to the point now where she can identify a property that's even worth taking a look at and eliminate it in probably 15 minutes. Boom, 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 boom. Problem. Nope, not going to look at that one. And then you're just sifting right there. So I hope I answered your question. If not, ask me again. Fume Drummer. I heard that the new Biden book is 60 pages thick and comes with a box of 64 crayons with a sharpener in the back. It probably has one of those things. Remember the viewfinders that when we were kids, you could like click the little button and pictures would keep going? Can you imagine what those pictures in a Biden book would look like? Ooh, that's kind of scary. Christina, hello. Keeping an eye on Albemarle Corp, New York Stock Exchange, ALB. They bought the old Foot mineral mine. It was closed after brine deposits of lithium were found cheaper to mine. They can't keep up with the demand. I did an article on X about it. Oh, thank you for the tip there. Those of you guys who don't know, you might want to contact Christine. She's already done some research for you. ALB. I'm going to have to look into that. Let's see, where are we? Izzy, what are chances of the fanfare community can create a startup chips company? You mean like microchips? I don't know. I'm not a hardware person. I'm pretty good with software. I don't know anything much about hardware. That'd be you have to ask some people about that. I know my limitations. I'm not good with hardware. I have a friend who can build a computer from scratch. I can't do that. Pekovsky, hello. Thank you. Eden Vision. Thank you, gentlemen, fair family. Where we go on, we go all as a nation and as a people. We are one nation. We salute one flag. We, the people, are one family. Patriots love and bleed red, white, and blue. Our colors never run. And we follow the direction of one man right now. By the way, what I told you earlier about Mark Wayne Mullen, it does seem, as I'm seeing more news, that he did indeed get spanked by President Trump publicly. So I don't know if that bodes well for him. Who knows if he's like, I'm done. Hopefully, he seems like a good guy. He'll still be around. All right. And Fikowski, dress up for the Dems funeral tomorrow. Let me talk to you about that tomorrow, too. I think a lot of things are going to change. We'll talk about it tomorrow. And B.W. Wright, thank you, Barry. Tim Walz must be indicted. Yeah, a couple different things. Number one was when he let that guy go that was pardoned him after what he did to that 10-year-old little girl. I don't even know how you think to pardon somebody like that. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I didn't know we were going to be here all night, but I can tell you probably we're going to be together quite a long time tomorrow night. See you tomorrow.
News.